Sure, you've read many stories about many different magazine heroes, but there's never been a story like this one because there's never been a hero like Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Number 1. Amazing Spider-Man number 1 was the first issue of Spider-Man series after his debut in Amazing Fantasy 15, as the writer got fan letters asking for more stories with Spider-Man as well as good sales for the issue. Spider-Man was made into a separate comic series. With the Peter Parker's household desperate for money following the death of Ben Parker, Peter Parker decides to continue in show business as Spider-Man. However, not only does he find it impossible to cash his paycheck made out to Spider-Man, but the irrational editorials by J. Jonah Jameson in the Daily Bugle effectively destroyed his career. Besides denouncing Spider-Man as publicity-seeking phony, Jonathan Jameson also publishes articles lauding his son, John Jameson, a courageous astronaut about to be launched into orbit into a space capsule. J. Jonah Jameson called his son a real hero. On the day of the launch, Peter Parker is at the launch site as an observer. The rocket takes off successfully, but as guidance system error causes it to go wildly off course and re-enter the atmosphere. Spider-Man appears at the launch site and offers to replace the defective 24-3B guidance unit by plugging in capsule with a spare. Because there is no way for the military to get to the capsule in time, they allow Spider-Man to try. Spider-Man commands an aircraft and a pilot, and together they fly toward the space capsule re-entry point. Although the capsule is falling fast, Spider-Man manages to get a hold of it with his webbing and climbs aboard. He quickly replaces the faulty guidance unit. As a result, John Jameson regains control of the capsule, gets it properly oriented, and opens up its parachute. To the joy of all concerned, the astronaut is saved. Thinking that Spider-Man has at last proved himself, Peter Parker is shocked when he reads J. Jonah Jameson's editorial in the next edition of the Daily Bugle. Spider-Man is accused of deliberately sabotaging the space capsule and staging the rescue as a publicity stunt. With public opinion turning against Spider-Man with each new editorial in the Daily Bugle, Peter Parker's position is hopeless as ever. Spider-Man versus the Chameleon. Still looking for a way to use his powers to make money, Spider-Man decides to try and join the Fantastic Four. He enters the Baxter Building, escapes a plexiglass cage trap, and battles the four heroes. After explaining his intentions, he learns that the Fantastic Four are non-profit organization and earn no salaries. He leaves disappointed, vowing to make the group look like pikers. Meanwhile, the Chameleon is using his multi-pocketed disguise vest to infiltrate a defensive installation in the Lark building at the edge of New York City. Later that night, while mulling over the defense plans he has stolen, he hears about Spider-Man's visit to the Fantastic Four headquarters. He deduces that Spider-Man has no legitimate way to earn a living and must be short of money. He once more infiltrates the defensive installation and disguises Spider-Man, steals the remainder of the missile defensive plan. Spider-Man, who had been contacted with a phony job offer by the Chameleon on a special frequency that only his spider sense can pick up, arrives at the defense installation just after Chameleon's departure. The security guards try to capture him, thinking he has stolen the plans. Evading capture, Spider-Man uses his elastic webbing to sling himself over the harbor, then spins a web parachute to land safely. He grabs a boat and follows the Chameleon's helicopter to a waiting Soviet submarine. He quickly gains control of the helicopter, and he and the Chameleon return to the Lark building. The Chameleon disguises himself as one of the security guards to avoid arrest, but after a brief battle, he is captured. Unfortunately, during the battle, the guards believe that Spider-Man is the Chameleon in disguise, forcing Spider-Man to flee. He departs ruefully of the way things never seem to turn out right. Notes: Peter is incorrectly named Peter Palmer 3 times in this issue. In the second story of this issue, Spider-Man vs. Chameleon, 2 occurrences being on the same page and fewer than 5 panels apart, page 2 of the story, and once again on page 6. At the end of the specialty of Spider-Man's web is given and how it is very much strong, flexible, and can decompose. The Chameleon will not be seen again until Amazing Spider-Man 15. This issue marks the first time Spider-Man ran out of web fluid. This issue marks the first time Spider-Man is called a menace by the Daily Bugle. This issue marks the first time Spider-Man uses his webs to create an object such as a parachute. J. Jonah Jameson's first appearance. John Jameson's first appearance. Chameleon first appearance. Professor Newton first appearance. March 1963. Writer Stan Lee. Penciler Steve Ditko. Inker Steve Ditko. And colorist Stan Goldberg. Next issue, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue number 2. Nothing I like better than taunting my enemies. Quote by the Vulture. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 2 is the second issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Duel to the death with the Vulture. New York City is being terrorized by a new criminal called the Vulture. He is equipped with artificial wings that allow him to swoop down on his victims, snatch their valuables, and fly away before they know what is happening. Nobody has been able to photograph him, and J. Jonah Jameson needs pictures to illustrate his Vulture feature article for Now magazine. Peter Parker decides to try to photograph the criminal in action. Selling the photographs will help him and his Aunt May make ends meet. Well, so the Park Avenue Jewelry Exchange is moving $1 million worth of diamonds to their new offices across town. Eh? It shouldn't be hard for the Vulture to get his hands on those gems. They'll probably be expecting me to try something, but I'll get those gems in a way that no one would ever suspect. Even Spider-Man wouldn't have a chance of stopping me. Meanwhile, the Vulture is abandoned Silo, his Staten Island hideout, making plans to hit the Park Avenue Jewelry Exchange. As he flies over the city, he is spotted by Spider-Man, who is equipped with a miniature camera once owned by his late Uncle Ben. Spider-Man manages to take some photographs of the Vulture, but the Vulture sees him, attacks him from behind, knocks him out, and dumps him into the water tower. After breaking out of the water tower, Spider-Man heads home, where he adds some improvements to his devices and develops his photographs. Next day, Peter Parker arrives at J. Jonah Jameson's office with pictures of the Vulture. The publisher is very impressed and pays him well. The next day, Peter heads for the Park Avenue Diamond Exchange, which the Vulture tauntingly announced to the public as the site of his next robbery. While everybody expects the Vulture to strike from above, he strikes from beneath a manhole cover, seizes a case of diamonds, and flees through the New York City sewer system. Spider-Man uses his spider sense to track him down and wins their battle with an anti-magnetic inverter, a device he built to counteract the magnetic power that the Vulture uses for flight. The Vulture is left for the police, and Peter Parker has photographs of the Vulture's capture, which he sells to J. Jonah Jameson for a large sum of money. Peter and Aunt May are able to make ends meet. While in a lonely cell, the Vulture has a slightly different opinion of our hero. I wouldn't be here if not for the accuser, Spider-Man. But sooner or later, I'll get free and I'll develop a flying power that he cannot overcome. And then Spider-Man, it will be my turn to gloat. The uncanny threat of the terrible tinkerer. Peter Parker is busy in the Midtown High School science lab when Mr. Warren introduces him to Professor Cobwell. The professor needs an assistant for the weekend, and Peter Parker comes highly recommended. The next day, Peter runs an errand to the Tinkerer repair shop where Professor Cobwell has left a radio to be fixed. But in the basement of the shop, a group of what are apparently extraterrestrials have a placing spy devices into the radios of certain customers. The spy devices eventually enable them to estimate the Earth's strengths and weaknesses in secrecy before they strike. Spider-Man's spider senses detects an odd kind of radiation emanating from the shop basement. Later, this same kind of radiation detected from the radio brought back to Professor Cowell's laboratory. His curiosity aroused, Spider-Man returns to the Tinker's shop and sneaks into the basement, where he sees the aliens and the Tinkerer and deduces their plans. Unfortunately, he is spotted, and in his ensuing battle, he is stunned by one of the Tinkerer's electrical weapons. He is placed in a restro glass enclosure with the Tinkerer and his gang believe he cannot escape. They plan to kill him by withdrawing all the air from the enclosure. Spider-Man thwarts their plan by shooting web fluid out of the holes through which his air supply is being withdrawn. He hits the button on the control panel that opens his glass prison. A misdirected weapon starts a fire, and the Tinkerer and the aliens all flee. They appear to leave Earth in a large spacecraft, and then all that remains of the Tinkerer is a face mask in Peter's hands. And yet I was so sure. I know how the doc feels. If not for this mask I yanked off the Tinkerer at the last minute, I might not believe it myself, but I better never mention this to anyone. It would be too hard to explain how Peter Parker knows so much about Spider-Man's adventures. This is the first time the trademark Spider Sense is coined for the power that warns Peter of incoming danger. Strange, my spider sense picks up the odd electrical impulses must be coming from this testing equipment. Developments for Duel to the Death of the Vulture. The Vulture, Adrian Toomes, makes his first Earth 616 appearance. Spider-Man defeats the Vulture. The issue marks the first time Peter Parker sold pictures to the Daily Bugle after he took the pictures of the Vulture's defeat as Spider-Man. Duel to the Death with the Vulture. The story is expanded upon in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, 1.2, and Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, 1.3. A number of deaths in the story are considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. These details are the type of camera that Peter uses. The technology used allows Vulture to fly as well as magnetic inverter. Although unnamed here, the secretary of the Daily Bugle is Eleanor Brandt. She is first identified in Untold Stories Spider-Man 12. That story explains what happens to her following this story. In this story, Peter asked Jameson to keep his name a secret and to credit his photos to a staff photographer. This was an attempt to prevent his classmates from making a connection between Peter and Spider-Man. Eventually, he revealed he was taking photos for the Daily Bugle during a class presentation as seen in Untold Tales of Spider-Man 11. Vulture's costume sports a tail seen on the cover and is in most panels within the issue. The tail shows up again on the cover of Amazing Spider-Man 7. Developments of the uncanny threat of the terrible Tinkerer. The Tinkerer, Phineas Mason, makes his first Earth 616 appearance. Although not named, Quentin Beck, later to become Mysterio, makes his first canon appearance in Earth 616. Professor Cobwell, first appearance. A number of details in the story are considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. These details are any reference to Tinkerer specifically fixing radios. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, 1.4 states that Peter has sent to get Professor Cobwell's antique radio repaired. Likewise, should the price of the Tinkerer's repair jobs 10 cents be considered topical. The aliens in the stories are revealed to be criminals disguised, and entire thing was a charade to throw off anyone who might discover their operation. The fact was explained in the Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man 51. The same issue reveals that one of the crooks is Quentin Beck, who has become Mysterio in Amazing Spider-Man 13. Peter Parker's part-time job with Professor Codwell short-lived the details of how he loses his job and revealed in Spider-Man Volume 3, Issue 1, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, Issue 5. Spider-Man's belt camera, first appearance. Spider-Man's utility belt, first appearance. Anti-magnetic inverter, first appearance. Continuity notes. This issue is technically the first in comic book history to feature the traditional corner box. It was Steve Ditko's idea of featuring a corner box spotlighting Spider-Man. Stan Lee liked it so much he had Jack Kirby do the same thing for the cover of Fantastic Four 14. However, in the month of the release of these two books, Fantastic Four came out earlier, for which it usually gets credit of being a comic issue that introduced the corner box. The cover logo was redesigned by Saul Brodsky and Artie Smick by repositioning letters from the logo of Volume 1, Number 1, and redrawing the webbing. The cover of the issue is one of the 32 that appear in the comic collection from the 2000 video game Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 3 is the third issue of Spider-Man, which is coming next. Now watch me trap a spider in a web of my own, a web made of my newfound arms. Your strength is merely that of a spider, but mine is the energy of an atom born of a nuclear accident. Dr. Octopus. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 3. Spider-Man catches Charlie and his two pals robbing a warehouse. Surprising them with his spider signal light, he quickly overcomes them and webs them up for the police. Meanwhile, atomic scientist Otto Octavius, known to his colleagues as Dr. Octopus because of his unique set of 4 remote-controlled arms he invented for handling radioactive material, is made hard at work at the U.S. Atomic Research Center. Suddenly, his experiment goes awry. In the ensuing explosion, Otto Octavius' mechanical arms fuse to his body, and the excess radiation alters his brain. When he awakens at the Bliss Private Hospital, he discovers that he can make his mechanical arms move by thought alone, just as if they were his real arms. With his brain unbalanced, Dr. Octopus forcibly takes over the hospital as his first criminal act. Somehow my mechanical arms have almost become a part of me. They obey my every command with such power and my brilliant mind. I'm the supreme human being on Earth. J. Jonah Jameson learns of the strange events at the hospital and sends Peter Parker to take some photographs. Peter sneaks into the hospital as Spider-Man and discovers the hospital staff held captive by Dr. Octopus. Spider-Man is badly beaten in the battle, but Dr. Octopus captives manage to escape. Hey, what? Surprise, Dr. Octopus is far more powerful than you dreamed, far more powerful than you. My web, he snapped it. Nobody has ever done that before. And now, Superman, I grow bored with this game. My time is too valuable. Now watch me trap a spider in a web of my own, a web made of my newfound arms. Your strength is merely that of a spider, but mine is the energy of an atom born of a nuclear accident. I am helpless. I can't fight all those arms at once. Don't know what to do next. He's just toying with me. What do I do now? I've never beaten before, but this time my spider powers were not enough. Is this the end of Spider-Man? Dr. Octopus returns to the U.S. Atomic Research Center and takes over its computer, soon gaining possession of its greatest source of atomic power in the nation. Meanwhile, Peter Parker is dispirited following his defeat. The government asked the Fantastic Four to retake the laboratory from Dr. Octopus, but they declined because of other commitments. The Human Torch, unable to use his flame because of a virus, nevertheless appears at a mid-time high school to address student body. The speech he gives is so inspiring that Peter Parker regains his self-confidence. He decides he can defeat Dr. Octopus after all. Spider-Man soon enters the laboratory, where he builds 2 devices from chemicals and wires. When Dr. Octopus finds him, Spider-Man tosses one of the devices around, 2 of the criminals' mechanical arms meeting them together. Then he squirts web fluid all over Dr. Octopus's glasses. Temporarily blinded with 2 of his arms stuck together, Dr. Octopus is easily knocked out and left helpless for the police. When Spider-Man later thanks the Human Torch for his inspiring speech, the Human Torch, cured of illness, is perplexed. The next day, Human Torch gives the Midtown High School students another demonstration of his newly restored powers, while Peter Parker smiles, finding new confidence in his young career as a superhero. Some developments. Dr. Octopus. Otto Octavius makes his first appearance, 616 Spider-Man. Otto's supervillain's origin is also revealed in this issue. The story is explained upon in Spider-Man Unlimited 318, and Spider-Man Dr. Octopus Out of Reach number 1 and 3. Various details in the story should be considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. Primarily, all references to a nuclear energy and technology that is used throughout this story. Some errors. Spider-Man is erroneously called Superman by Dr. Octopus on page 8, panel 6. Dr. Octopus's last name is mislettered Octavius in this story as it is in several other early Spider-Man stories. Trivia. Part of the plot of this comics was used for the plot of the live-action movie Spider-Man 2. The issue marks the first time Spider-Man uses his spider signal. This issue makes the first time Spider-Man left a note after capturing bad guys for the police. This issue is also called Spider-Man Pinup Page and the first of Spider's Web's letter section 2 pages long. The cover of this issue is one of 32 that appear in the comic collection from the 2000 video game Spider-Man. I appreciate you watching the channel. Next issue, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 4. Nothing can stop the Sandman. Liz Allen, I wonder where Peter went. He isn't here. Flash Thompson, who? That coward? He's probably hiding with his head under a desk somewhere. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 4. Nothing can stop the Sandman. Spider-Man sees a few punks casing a jewelry store and webs them up before they can rob it. However, the thugs threaten to sue Spider-Man for assault and battery. Spider-Man must flee when they call the cops since all the evidence makes him look guilty. Spider-Man blames Jameson for this treatment and leaves him a little souvenir in his office. After leaving Jameson's office, Spider-Man runs into the Sandman on a rooftop. Sandman gets the best of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's mask is torn in the process, so he must flee before his identity is revealed. While at home sewing up his mask, Peter Parker learns the identity of the Sandman during a new news bulletin. Originally an escaped convict, Sandman hid on a beach at a radioactive testing facility. During one of the tests, he was exposed to radioactivity, and his body gained the power to act as if he were made of sand. The bulletin also shows Sandman robbing a bank and fleeing the police. The next morning, Peter decides to try to ask Jameson for an advance before he heads to class, but the newspaper man angrily throws him out of the office. Peter heads off to school and overhears Flash asking Liz about going on a date with Peter. Peter had forgotten all about it and had to cancel so that he can capture Sandman. Of course, Liz did not take this too well. Meanwhile, Sandman starts to realize that he can't keep on running and must hide out. As a fate would have it, he decides Midtown High looks like a good place. Sandman barges into the classroom to hide. This classroom, however, is full of students getting a lecture from the principal. Sandman demands a diploma and threatens to teach a principal a lesson when the diploma demanded is rejected. Peter, running errands in the hallway, overhears the dispute. Peter quickly changes and Spider-Man bursts in, knocking Sandman back. Go get him, Spider-Man. Give him one for us, pal. Wonder if they'd cheer so loud if they knew it was puny Peter Parker they're cheering. That was a real dramatic entrance, Spider-Man, but enjoy it while you can, because this time you ain't getting away from me so easy. I've got to get him away from here. I can't take a chance on any of these kids getting hurt while we're fighting. But maybe I can quickly floor him with one punch. Uh-oh, not a chance. My spider sense tells me he's making his body rock hard again. I just bust my hand trying. Instead, I'll do the unexpected. I'll grab him in a wrestler's hold before he can change the structure of his physical makeup and flip him over my head like this. Happy landings, braggart. Perfect. I got him out of the room. Now to find a way to hold him until the police can get here. I'm trying to sound confident to him, but I'll be blamed if I know what to try next. He's sure no sitting duck. Gotta catch my breath for a sec. He's got me trapped in the corner. Can't run, and my punches don't seem to be hurting him. Now I've got you where I want you. Hold still, insect man. This won't take long. I don't want to get bored, chum, so I'll hit you a different way. Ever get any love taps from a guy's rock hard head? Ugh, ow. Well, this little party's gonna end pretty soon. Here's where I put you away for keeps, you costume pest. He's trapping me more and more. I can't break loose. Wait, I've got an idea. Don't you ever learn? All I gotta do is make my body like sand again, and that dumb thing can't hurt me. So far, so good. He doesn't suspect that that's just what I want him to do. Just this. Here's the first part of your education, courtesy of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Oh! They battle it out before Spider-Man tricks Sandman into turning into sand and vacuums him up with an industrial vacuum cleaner. Spider-Man realizes that he should have gotten pictures for the Bugle, so he uses a bucket of sand and some acting to stage photos. Spider-Man hands the vacuum bag with the Sandman in it to the police. While Jameson tries to convince the captain to arrest Spider-Man as well, Spider-Man ducks back into school and after another quick costume change, bumps into Jameson as Peter and gives him the film of the Sandman battle. Peter finds Liz to let her know that he can still take her out, but she has to make other plans with Flash. Flash makes one too many insults, and Peter finally has had enough and threatens to wipe that smile off Flash's face. Before he throws a punch, Peter realizes that his super strength could seriously injure Flash. Peter lets him go and walks away, making everyone think he's a chicken. As Peter walks home from school, he hears everyone agreeing with Jameson's opinion of Spider-Man. Alone in his room, Peter searches his soul for the reason he decided to be Spider-Man. Can they be right? Am I really some sort of a crackpot wasting my time seeking fame and glory? Am I more interested in the adventures of being Spider-Man than I am in helping people? Why do I do it? Why don't they give the whole thing up? And yet I can't. I must have been given this great power for a reason. No matter how difficult it is, I must remain as Spider-Man. And I pray that someday the world will understand. Sandman, first appearance. Principal Davis, first appearance. Notes and facts. Various details about this story should be considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. The details are that Peter is watching a news report on a black and white television and the cause to Flint exposure to the radiation. The story states that the Sandman's real name is Flint Marko. However, it is actually William Baker as revealed in Marvel 2-for-1, 86. The alias was derived from the combination of his high school nickname and a teacher he had crushed on as revealed in Friendly Spider-Man Annual number 1. Although he referenced to an island prison here, Marvel 2-in-1 86 clarifies that Flint was incarcerated on Rikers Island. The details pertaining to the Sandman's origin are considered a topical reference as a narration states and it has a nuclear bomb test. All of the recountings of his origin state that Flint fled onto a secured beach. However, how he was exposed to the radiation has changed with the time. For example, in Marvel 2-in-1 86 states that it was a nuclear-powered device that exploded. In Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Annual number 1, it is stated that it was a nuclear reactor. Lastly, Giant Size Spider-Man Volume 2, number 1 states that the marker was exposed to radioactive waste. Principal Davis' full name is revealed in the official handbook of the Marvel Universe A to Z, number 10. One of the teens watching Spider-Man's battle with Spider-Man is revealed to be Jessica Jones in Amazing Spider-Man 601. In Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Annual 1, the Sandman states that he intentionally allowed himself to get defeated so easily so he could return to prison and break his father out of jail. The cover of this issue is one of the 32 that appear in the comic collection from the video game Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 5, Marked for Destruction by Dr. Doom is next. Ordinary men tremble at the mention of my name. The entire civilized world fears the menace of Dr. Doom, and yet in one respect I have been foiled time and time again. No matter how perfectly I lay my plans, the Fantastic Four have always managed to frustrate me. I still remember our last parting. Quote, Dr. Doom. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 1. Marked for destruction by Dr. Doom. After report by J. Jonah Jameson about the menace of Spider-Man, Peter, in order to avoid any suspicion that he's really Spider-Man, speaks negatively about his alter ego, earning him harsh words from Flash Thompson. Meanwhile, Dr. Doom had seen this same report and decided that after surviving his last encounter battling the Fantastic Four, that perhaps Spider-Man would make for a good partner to eliminate his mortal foes. Once under cover of the clouds, the jet-powered flying belt I wore enabled me to glide to safety to repair a new layer where I could lick my wounds like a vanquished beast. But now that is all behind me. Now it is time to strike again. With the aid of the imprisoned Spider-Man, I will transmit a message to Spider-Man using his own wavelength. In some strange way, he has sensory powers of a spider, and so it was simple matter for one of my genius to create this spider wave transmitter. Calling Spider-Man, I must contact you at once. But perhaps Spider-Man would not be quite so enthusiastic if he knew who was waiting for him at his ultimate destination. It should be child's play for me to persuade Spider-Man to join me against the Fantastic Four. So it was you who tried to contact me, Doom. It would have had to be someone with your talent. But why? Ah, Spider-Man, it is necessary for you to make your entrance quite so dramatic. My contemptuous friend, you're an outcast, the same as I. You dare not reveal your true identity, and yet right under your nose, the Fantastic Four basks in the limelight while you are shunned and hunted. I'll appeal to his sense of envy, of pride. Then once he has served his purpose, I'll destroy him without a second thought. Not so fast, tin head. Sure, I'm an amusing thought to kick around, but just between us, I need you like I need another nose. The answer is no, Buster. I warn you, if you are not with me, then you are deadly foes. You don't think a feller with reflexes of a spider is going to tumble down a corny trapdoor, do you? Perhaps not. But for your sake, I hope you don't think you've escaped me already. The accident, which years ago made a shambles of my face, didn't affect my strength at all, as you can see. Oof! And I am not entirely without little weapons of my own, such as this most effective miniature finger gun. Nice try, Rattletrap, but I saw that coming seconds ago. While back at Midtime High, Flash decided to play a prank on Peter Parker by giving him a scare in his new Spider-Man costume in hopes of getting Parker to have more respect for Spider-Man. The prank backfires as Dr. Doom begins trying to track down Spider-Man to get revenge. As Thompson is near Peter when Doom is tracking Spider-Man, he captures Thompson instead. Doom then sends out a message to the Fantastic Four to battle him, or Spider-Man will be killed. Peter at first believes that Flash deserves his fate, but his sense of responsibility sends him out to rescue Flash anyway. I ought to have my head examined for knocking myself out to rescue a guy who's my worst enemy. But, whoop, hold it. I'm beginning to sense something. But you will still enable me to gain my objectivity. The Fantastic Four, spurred on by their stupid gallantry, will not fail to attempt your rescue. And when they come, I shall defeat them. Completely irrevocable. It's a tight squeeze, but I think I can make it. Whew. This would be some spot for a guy to get claustrophobia. Spider-Man, you're my prisoner inside. How? Correction, Doc. I'm the real Spider-Man. You just captured yourself a phony brand X in there. If that's so, then you were a fool to place yourself in jeopardy again. This time I shall not allow you to escape. Funny, I was thinking the same thing about you. And now, while I'm all comfy and cozy back here, I'll just spin myself a little weapon of my own. You've got to admit one thing, though. It's a great way to teach someone that it isn't polite to point. Very clever, Spider-Man. You have temporarily put my finger blaster out of action. Uh-oh, I sense danger above me. He's trying to lead me into a trap. Better build another shield for myself fast, just in time that the falling liquid is turning into ice on contact. It might have frozen me solid. I'll dive under them and shoot my web to base off the spinning machine. For the love of Pete, Doom doesn't give a guy a chance to catch his breath. Now he's got a liquid heat shooting up from the floorboards. You outsmarted yourself that time. I tricked you into landing where you did, and now this steel section of flooring I landed on, you've got it electrified. He's increasing the current. Can't take much more of it. It would have knocked out a normal human by now. Luckily, I loaded up with plenty of web fluid before coming here. Ugh, I'm caught in my own trap. Got to switch current off. The robot, what a fool I was. I forgot about it. Naturally, no one can match the thinking ability of Dr. Doom. And now, even though you are breaking free, it is too late. Even you will find no defense against this time machine. Before I worry about any new machines of yours, here's your playmate back with my regards. Still, you rely on brute strength, Spider-Man. That will be your undoing. We'll see about that. My spider strength will enable me to smash your new gizmo by tossing your own satellite machine at it. Not quite. Not if I can flip this lever first. Well, I can't stand still and let it finish me. Maybe I can dive past the bolt and reach the control panel. Ugh, he's even stronger than I suspected. Didn't you think I expected you to try that? The bolt, it struck you, but what? Did you think I'd expose myself to my own weapon without taking precautions? I'm insulted against these bolts. They cannot harm me. Another inch and I'm done. For spider strength. If I ever needed you, I need you now. Exerting every last bit of power contained in a spider human body, the amazing Spider-Man, executing one last maneuver, manages to twist suddenly so that both figures sprawl against the control panel, halting the deadly disintegrating bolts. I did it! This will be your finish, you clumsy fool. Oof! However, when the Fantastic Four arrives as well, Doom decides to flee the battle. Spider-Man decides to leave as well, leaving the Fantastic Four to rescue Thompson, hoping that he learns his lesson. The next day at school, he sees otherwise as Flash boasts about his experience. Peter, needing to keep his identity as Spider-Man in secret, of course, cannot say anything otherwise. Spider Sense Transmitter, Dr. Doom, first appearance. Spider Detector, Dr. Doom, first appearance. Notes: a number of plot details should be considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616, particularly the fact that everyone is watching black and white televisions and Aunt May is watching the Ed Sullivan show on TV. Dr. Doom recounts his last defeat at the hands of the Fantastic Four. This happened in Fantastic Four 17. Trivia: on page 13, Spider-Man flashes the spider symbol from his belt while hanging upside down. However, the symbol itself appears with the right side up as usual instead of being upside down like him. In Amazing Spider-Man number 9, a fan letter asked about this, although incorrectly saying that this happened in issue 6 rather than 5. The reply admitted that it was a mistake. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 6, Face to Face with the Lizard. Next. Don't make me laugh. If there really is a giant lizard down south, Spider-Man will never tackle him. He'd rather stay here fighting 2-bit hoods and making a rep for himself. J. Jonah Jameson. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 6, Face to Face with the Lizard. When reports of a humanoid lizard, naturally dubbed the Lizard, come out of Florida, Daily Bugle publisher J. Jonah Jameson issues a challenge to Spider-Man. Defeat the Lizard. Hearing about this, when Peter goes to prove Jameson to see what Jameson's intentions are, and learns that Jameson only issued the challenge to sell more papers. Later, while at the National History Museum with his classmates, Peter takes express interest in the lizard exhibits. When crooks try to rob the museum and take Liz Allen hostage, Peter slips away and changes into Spider-Man and comes to her rescue. Spider-Man, you saved me from those two gunmen. The pleasure was mine, blue eyes. Minutes later, Liz, come on, snap out of it. This is Flash. Don't you remember me? Flash? Flash who? All I can remember are Spider-Man Strong's arms around me. Made it nobody even missed me. Hearing another report of an attack by the lizard in Florida, Peter decides to take Jameson's challenge. As Spider-Man, Peter pays Jameson a visit to take him up on his challenge in hopes that he'd send Peter Parker to Florida to take pictures of the event. The plot works, however, it backfires ever so slightly. Jameson himself is going to accompany the boy, advise him. What's the rush? I have news item for you. I'm going to accept the lizard's challenge. So if you really want to see what I can really do, you better send a photographer to Florida to cover the story. As for my web, it'll loosen in a minute and you'll come down. Boy, will you come down? You know, Betty, I've been wanting to ask you something. Yes, Peter? Parker, get in here. I've decided to send you to Florida after all to try to get some pictures of the lizard and Spider-Man if he shows up. That's great. When do I start? Start packing now. We're leaving as soon as possible. We're leaving? That's right. It's such a big story that I'm going with you. When they arrive in Florida, Peter makes an excuse of needing to buy film for his camera to get away from Jameson. As Spider-Man, Peter checks out his only lead, Curtis Connors, a resident expert on lizards. The lizard area is blocked off by armed patrols. I wonder what kind of blip ID make on a radar screen. But although he is not detected by radar, Spider-Man is observed by something far more dangerous. The eyes of the lizard. Enemy coming. Must hide, then attack. I don't like it. It's too quiet here. Unnaturally quiet. It's a creepy feeling. My spider sense is starting to tingle, but I don't see anything. My foot. Something grabbed me from behind. Something powerful. Can't keep my balance. It's him, the lizard. Lizard or not, a glob of mud pushed in his face ought to slow him down a little. Whew, I'm out. Couldn't have held my breath much longer. Uh-oh, he's out too. Still can't figure out who or what he really is. The swampland is mine. I have warmed the world, but you dare to invade my domain. And so you are doomed. Sure, every time I turn around, I get doomed by someone else. He's fast. His tail almost got me that time. Strange. He doesn't seem to be wearing a disguise. That grotesque form is really him. I better knock some of the fight out of him. If I can, just hang onto his tail. Surfing spider webs. He's a dozen times stronger than I thought. Boy, when I make out a mistake, I blow it. Look out below. Gasp. He threw me almost half a mile. Lucky these trees broke my fall. Say, that must be Dr. Connor's house. He's the reptile expert I wanted to see. However, when he arrives at the Connors home, Spider-Man learns from Kirk's wife that his husband is the lizard. That when he was busy trying to find a way to allow humans to grow back limbs. As Connor had lost his arm in the war, he used himself as a guinea pig on the project. While his arm grew back, the side effects of the serum he created caused him to transform into the lizard. Meanwhile, not far away, the terrified boy races through the swamp, having seen a sight which seemed to be out of a nightmare. I did not mean to frighten you. Help! Come back. That snake, I can't get out of its way in time. Suddenly, a colorful, fast-moving figure swings down from above and... Got you! Oh! No one can take him from me. Billy, stay up there. Don't let go. Ow! This skin is so hard as a dinosaur's armor. I almost broke my hand, and he hardly felt it. I'll try to hold on to him with my web until... No, that's no good either. He snapped it with his tail as if it were made out of paper. Just then a female voice cries out and strikes a hidden chord deep within the lizard's breast. Slowly he turns and then suddenly slithers into the murky swamp. Billy, where are you? He then works into Connor's labs to create an antidote for the serum in hopes that he can change Connor's back to normal. You are the only one who does not fear me. Once I destroy you, all mankind will tremble before the lizard. Quick, take the test tube. Don't let it spill. I've got to reason with him. You can't. He grows less human each minute. He doesn't even seem to know me now. At last, I see fear in your eyes, for you know I have the power to rid the world of Spider-Man. My skin is hard as armor, and my muscles are equally strong, stronger by far than yours. He's right. He's hurling that huge oak desk as if it's weightless. How helpless you are in the face of my battering attack. Don't know where to turn. His arms, his tail, all striking at once. Such strength, it's unbelievable. Ow! He must be stopped quickly before he creates the first super lizard. Otherwise, they will multiply too fast to ever be checked. Here is the antidote, but how will you get him to drink it? Well, that solves my first problem, the problem of when to attack. Looks like it's now or never. Get him, my pets. Spider-Man must never leave here alive. You had all the innings so far, fella. Now it's time for Spider-Man to show you what he can do. First, I'll get up to the top, turn it where the alligators can't reach me. Ha! He forgets there are 3,000 different kinds of lizards on Earth, and I have all the powers of all of them. Has he never seen a gecko lizard slither up a wall? He beat me to the top. Now I'm trapped between the lizards and the gators below. They're battering the wall to make it crumble. Can't stay up here much longer. When you talk about powers, pal, don't forget that spiders have a few themselves, such as the power of swinging on their webs. Bah, that is nothing. You are only postponing the eventual outcome. Sooner or later, I will destroy you. I ought to have a record made of that line. I hear it all the time. Don't you realize yet that your web isn't strong enough to hold me? Well, you can't blame a guy for trying. I've got to keep him on the move so that he forgets to grab his serum and toss it into the swamp. For if it should spill into the swamp, we humans will never be able to stop the new race of lizard creatures that will emerge. You may be stronger than me, Liz, but I still say you're too slow to keep up with me. Now all I have to do is flip back and bolt the doors behind me. The gators, how did they get there so fast? Good thing this door bolts from both sides. Now it's just you and me, Spider-Man, and no way for you to escape me. Wherever you go, I can follow. Can't go any higher. He's right under me. Don't dare let him grab me with those powerful arms. Now, nice try, but you're going to be faster than that to snag a spider. As Spider-Man plunges towards the floor below, grasping his life-saving strand of web in one hand, he lunges out skillfully and, what? Gotcha! Then in midair, the amazing costume crusader summons all the speed, his unerring skill, his lightning-fast reflexes, and whisks a small vial from his belt. Thanks for joining me, Lizard. It gets lonesome tumbling down alone. If I miss now, there may be no second chance for me. Hold it, Liz. This is only take a second. I did it. Now only, oof. Your time has run out, Spider-Man. Now to finish you off. Why doesn't the serum work? What did I do wrong? What? Ugh, his tail. It's like a runaway sledgehammer. I warned you that you were no match for me, and now we will end this forever. As soon as I have disposed of you, I will spill my serum in the swamp, and the whole world will be mine. Got to stop him. Can't give up. But suddenly, my head, my brain, what? What is happening to me? Connor thanks Spider-Man for his help, and they all decide to keep mum about the fact that Connor was the lizard, as he had no control over what he did while in that form. Returning to a furious Jameson as Peter Parker, when Peter offers him the pictures, which he said he bought off a local, Jameson dismisses them as fakes and tears them up. He then tells Peter that this dud of a trip is coming out of his future pay. Returning back to New York, Peter tries his luck getting a date with Liz Allen, which ends up with her hanging out on him because she is expecting a call from that dreamy Spider-Man. As they round up his adventure to Florida, Peter sends Jameson a mocking letter to the Bugle. The Lizard, Kirk Connors, origin revealed, first appearance. Martha Connors, first appearance. Billy Connors, first appearance. Connors formula, first appearance. Notes: some details of this story should be considered a topical reference per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. These are when Spider-Man makes a reference to Fats Domino's, details the layout of LaGuardia Airport, such as the fact that Peter and Jameson board the plane from the tarmac, the type of plane used to fly to Florida. Likewise, this story states that Kirk Connors lost his arm during World War II. This should be considered a topical reference. Modern readers should interpret this as Connors being in the military and lost the arm in combat. Trivia: there is a mistake on page 16. After the Lizard was thinking about his powers, Spider-Man replies as if the Lizard was talking. On page 19, Kirk Connors mentions that he is holding his wife in his arms, although he has only one arm at that point. The cover of this issue is one of the 32 that appear in the comic collection from the 2000 video game Spider-Man. In June 2012, the issue was reprinted and included in a Walmart preview bundle packed to promote the upcoming film, The Amazing Spider-Man, whose main villain was the Lizard. Coming next, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 7, The Return of the Vulture. I think that for all his reputation, he's merely trying to do his civic duty. There's more to that young man than I thought, and he may merit further investigation. Quote, George Stacy. Chronologically speaking, this story takes place between Amazing Spider-Man 6 and 7, Volume 1. Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 1. To serve and protect. Spider-Man has finally found a new costume criminal known as the Scorcher, who has been using his flame-throwing armor to steal experimental electronic designs from various research and development companies. The Scorcher is unhappy that the novice hero has come to interrupt his mission. As the wall crawler battles his new foe, the authorities and a crow gatherer below the building. Thanks to the editorials of J. Jonah Jameson has written against the wall crawler, the mob begins to get upset that the web spinner is involved. Ultimately, the Scorcher manages to burn through one of Spider-Man's web lines, sending him falling to the ground below. In order to save his life, Spider-Man quickly webs up a cushion to break his fall. However, the angry mob tries to attack him, prompting the young hero to flee to the rooftops. There he discovers that the Scorcher and his army of minions have escaped in the confusion. After recovering his camera, Peter Parker pulls off his mask so he can give himself a moment to breathe. Thinking about all of his recent troubles, he wonders why this all has to happen to him. The following day, Peter goes through his daily routine fraught and his mind fraught with problems in both his personal life and his career as Spider-Man. When he wakes up in the morning, his Aunt May is worrying over the bills that have arrived in the mail. When Peter offers to do something to help, May tells her nephew that he is already spending too much time on his part-time job at the Bugle and fears that further time away from his studies will impact his grades. At school, Peter tries to keep his mind on his schoolwork. In chemistry class, Flash Thompson and his friends huddle together and make fun of Peter for being so focused on his education. Later, when Peter turns in his photos to J. Jonah Jameson, who is delighted to have pictures of the battle between Spider-Man and the Scorcher. Much to Peter's dismay, Jonah intends to use them to spin his opinion that the two were working together. The latest bit of depressing news makes Peter reflect on the direction of his life has taken. He recalls how simple things were when he was being raised by his Uncle Ben and Aunt May. His life all changed on the day he was bitten by a radioactive spider. Gaining proportionate abilities of Spider, Peter developed the identity of Spider-Man in order to make a career in show business. This came to a tragic end when Peter refused to stop a thief from getting away. That same man later murdered his Uncle Ben. This taught him that with great power comes great responsibility. And from then on, Peter used his power to fight crime. Since then, he had a number of run-ins with various supervillains. His thoughts are interrupted when Betty Brand gives Peter his check for his photos. He is about to muster up the guts to ask her on a date when J. Jonah Jameson comes bursting into the office with an idea on how to spin his recent batch of Spider-Man photos. When Jonah mentions the warrants out for Spider-Man's arrest, Peter thinks to himself that these warrants wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Jameson influencing the authorities with his negative editorials. However, this suddenly gives Peter some inspiration and tells Betty that he'll talk to her later. She is surprised when Peter suddenly kisses her on the cheek before rushing out of the office. Changing into Spider-Man, Peter swings down to the local police precinct. There, he sneaks into the office of Captain George Stacy. He tries to convince Stacy to make him an official police officer, pointing out that he had helped capture villains like the Vulture and the Sandman, and how he helped solve the Ben Parker murderer. When George points out that the wall crawler would have to go through proper channels, which includes revealing his true identity and going through the police academy, Spider-Man realizes that he cannot do that for fear of what the revelation will do to his Aunt May. Without explanation, Spider-Man says he can't do that and leaps out the window. Curious about this encounter with the wall crawler, George calls his sergeant and asks him to bring the file they have on Ben Parker's murderer. As he swings away from the police station, Spider-Man thinks about how unfair the situation is, confident that he would have made a great police officer. When he returns home and shows Aunt May the check he got from the Bugle, the elderly woman is delighted by the money as it will help her make her mortgage payment for the month. Just one more little reason. They need someone like me. I don't like this, Scorcher. There's cops all over the place. How are you going to get out? Mark, you've got to learn to relax. We've completed all our robberies and we're ready to hand over the schematics and cash. In. Don't worry. Everything's going according to plan. Oh, really? Am I part of your plan? How about surrender? Is that part of your scheme? Whack! Gook! Spider-Man, he got Carl. Froosh. Don't think so. Well, there's been a change of plans, big guy. You're under arrest. You're joking, Spider-Man. You may be able to dodge my flame blast for a minute or two, but I only need to hit you once. He has a point. This isn't like the rooftop last night. In an enclosed space like this, it's harder to dodge, and the heat, it's turning into an oven in here. Maybe this wasn't as good as a deer as I thought. Grab him, hold him, so the boss can finish him off. Hey, what's this? I have to stay out of the way of the flames, but your fireproof suits let you come at me from any direction? And you call that fair? I'll shut your yapping mouth, smart guy. You will? How? Like this? Whap! I've got him. Well, at least there's one thing I don't have to worry about. The evidence. In that flame-proof briefcase is perfectly safe until the battle's over. Gordon, to dispatch. Get Captain Stacy on the horn, will ya? Well, I've got a little problem here. I can't tell where anything is. The flames throwing giant, shifting shadows, the smoke over everything. It's like being in some hellish funhouse, and it gets to me. I find myself panicking, lashing out at something, until I force myself to relax, to trust my spider sense, to stop dodging and start connecting. Well, what do you know? Everyone's down for the count. It's just you and me. Come on, then. I try to take a breath and get some fresh air. It's so hot. Cuff. I've got to end this before I can't breathe at all. Come on. Hold off your Scorch. Or are you in a hurry to get your head handed to you? He's almost too hot to approach and way too hot to touch. So I make do it. Is that the best you can manage, Spider-Man? Go ahead, try again. Crap, coof, cuff, coof. It's no good. The heat's too intense, pushing me back, incinerating my webbing, smoke inhalation, getting to me. You're an idiot, Spider-Man. Everything you've done has played right into my hands. I can kill you and then just waltz out of here while the cops have to deal with the burning building. He's right. The police won't be able to chase him. They'll have to be making sure residents evacuate the area. Otherwise, once the flame reaches the chemical storage tanks on the lower floors, thousands could die. The fire's already burned through the roof and it's spreading fast. So, what it'll be, flame broil or slow roasted? Tar, thanks. You'll already lightly seared the outside and I properly insides raw. Can barely move. But if those tanks blow, if innocent people die, it'll be partly my fault for starting this fight. Lie down and die, Spider-Man. No, I can't let that happen. I'll pull with all my might, but my strength's almost gone. I'm praying the flames weaken the tower's support. And they have. Swoosh. Tons of water slammed down, hitting us like a sledgehammer. I duck the worst of it, but it still batters me nearly senseless. The Scorcher gets its worst through the sudden and could shatter his helmet, crack his armor. And once it's all over, instead of being celebrated as a hero, the police are upset that the Walker has interrupted their operation. As it turned out, they wanted the Scorcher to escape so they could track him to his employer. As Spider-Man is being scolded, not far from the smoking remains of the Osborn chemical plant, a mystery man holds onto the case of chemicals that the Scorcher had come to steal. Not knowing what to say, Spider-Man makes a meek apology and swings away. Although the officers are furious that the Walker is getting away, George Stacy is convinced that despite his interference, the young man is just trying to do his civic duty. Later, Peter has been brought to bed as he has developed a cold after his battle with the Scorcher. He is watching the news about Spider-Man battle, unhappy how it was received negatively by the press. That's when his Aunt May enters the room and turns off the television, suggesting that watching such violent stories will impede his recovery. As she leaves, Peter laments on how everyone is even more angry at Spider-Man than ever and wishes that, just for once, things would go his way. Notes: chronologically speaking, this story takes place between Amazing Spider-Man 6 and 7. This issue is between 6 and 7, is between the Lizard and the Return of the Vulture. Scorcher, Stephen Hudak, first appearance. Tim McGeever, first appearance. This recollection are of Spider-Man's origins as they were originally told in Amazing Fantasy 15. In the flashback, Peter pictured the Vulture, Dr. Octopus, Dr. Doom, and the Lizard, whom Spider-Man battled in Amazing Spider-Man 2, 3, 5, and 6, respectively. Thanks to Jameson's pressure in the press, the FBI and the police put out warrants for Spider-Man's arrest. That happened in Amazing Spider-Man number 1. At the time of this story, Spider-Man battled the Sandman for the first time in Amazing Spider-Man 4. This would ultimately lead to George Stacy uncovering Spider-Man's secret identity, something that George kept a secret until his death in Amazing Spider-Man 90. This mystery man is revealed to be Norman Osborn in Untold Tales of Spider-Man number 8. Publication note: this issue is part of a Marvel flipbook, which also contains Fantastic Four Unplugged 1. There is a message to the readers from the assistant editor, Glenn Greenberg, about Untold Tales located in what will become the letters page. This page also features cover reproductions of the next 2 issues. The next video is Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 2, Castles in the Air. The first appearance of Batwing Jimmy. Chronologically speaking, this story takes place in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1 between 6 and 7. You know, Parker, you really ought to watch where you're going. Imagine if that was an iron lamppost instead of soft, cuddly me. Quote, Flash Thompson. Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 2. Chronologically speaking, this story takes place between Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 6 and 7, Castles in the Air. On his penthouse rooftop, Councilman Randolph Cherney entertains a female guest. Their romantic evening is interrupted when a bat-like creature suddenly attacks them. However, all the creature wanted was fruit that was served out on the table. Taking some of the food, the creature disappears as quickly as it appeared. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is running late for school and swings across the city. He arrives just in time, changing into Peter Parker along the way. As he rushes into school, he is too focused on the morning edition of the Daily Bugle, which has a report on the bat creature's attack. So engrossed in the story, he is tipped by Jason in an elo and knocked to the ground by Flash Thompson. His fellow students get a good laugh at Peter's expense, especially when they notice what news story he was so interested in. When Tim McKeever starts picking up Peter's notebooks, he thinks Tiny is trying to help. However, Tiny is taking them away, intending to copy them for himself. Unable to do anything without potential blowing his secret identity, and backs away when Tiny threatens him. After school, Peter decides to go out on a patrol as Spider-Man to try and blow off some steam. Unfortunately, he cannot find any criminals no matter how hard he looks. He is worried about bringing in money with crime photos. He ultimately gives up and goes home to study, although he is concerned about Aunt May, who has struggled to keep a roof over their head ever since Uncle Ben was murdered. The next day, Peter Parker goes to the Daily Bugle and try and make another attempt to ask out Betty Brant. However, he is interrupted by J. Jonah Jameson, who is furious that even though the bat creature dubbed Batwing by the press has struck again, nobody has been able to get a photo of the creature. Peter tries to explain that he was simply asking Betty for a copy of Bugle's file on Batwing. This prompts Jonah to tell Parker Boy to stop wasting everyone's time and go out there and get a photo of Batwing, especially since Councilman Cheryl is offering a huge reward for the creature's capture. That night, Peter changes into Spider-Man to pay a visit to the councilman. There, he discovers that the official has hired men to guard the roof. Quickly webbing up the bodyguards, Spider-Man tells Randolph that he intends to capture Batwing and collect the reward. Although Charing has nothing to say about Batwing or the wall crawler, Spider-Man is looking forward to making Randolph pay him the reward money. Later, after changing back into Peter Parker, the webhead goes to McGever's household to recover his stolen homework. Peeking into Tiny's window, he spots his notes on Tiny's desk and recovers them with his web shooters. Before he can leave, he witnesses as Tiny enters his room with his father in tow. Mr. McGever is furious that his son is doing poorly in school, that they might pull him off the football team. Witnessing Tiny being verbally abused by his father, Peter decides to leave, deciding that this is none of his business. He tries to justify this by reminding himself that Tiny is a cheat and a bully and is only getting what he deserves. However, Peter's justifications cannot shake off the twinge of guilt he starts to feel. Later that evening, Spider-Man watches Cheryl's rooftop patio from the shadows of a nearby building. Although he is focusing on capturing Batwing, he cannot keep his mind off Tiny McGeever. Sure enough, Batwing returns to the scene of his first attack, causing a panic. As the security guards begin firing at the creature, Spider-Man swings down to capture it. The wall crawler webs up their guns for the fear they might hit one of the party goers. This allows Batwing to get away, much to the charging of Randolph. As Spider-Man swings off after Batwing, Randolph orders his men to prepare a helicopter as he wants to follow and make sure the wall crawler succeeds in capturing the creature. Spider-Man attempts to subdue Batwing over the city, are met with resistance. Eventually, Batwing leads him to the shore where the creature tries to hide under a dock. There, Spider-Man shines his signal belt on Batwing and gets a good look at his face. He's shocked to see that the creature is afraid of him and is in tears. Even more amazing, the creature is able to speak and explains that is only trying to get food to feed itself. The web slinger is also surprised to discover that Batwing is only a boy. Because it's hard for him to talk, Batwing hands the wall crawler his diary. Reading it, Spider-Man learns that the boy went on an expedition in the Carlsbad Caves with his father, Dr. Santini. Unfortunately, something startled his father, causing him to fall down a hole to his death. Batwing's recollection is not clear as to what frightened Dr. Santini, but it could have been a gunshot. Lost along in the cave for days, the young boy ate and drank what he could to survive, getting water from puddles. The boy noticed that the water tasted strange. He eventually made it out alive and returned home. However, there he began to transform into a bat-like creature he is now. His devotedly religious mother thought that her son had become a demon and forced him out of the home. Unsure what to do, Batwing came to New York City because it offered many sources of food and places to hide. However, he is now afraid for his life because everyone he has encountered has tried to kill him. When Spider-Man offers to get Batwing some help, the boy panics, thinking that he will turn over to scientists to be experimented on. As he tries to escape, he runs into Randall Sheriff's armed guards. With Batwing subdued, Randall congratulates Spider-Man for helping the creature. However, Now that he knows the truth about Batwing and seeing how frightened the boy is, Spider-Man webs up Randall's men, allowing Batwing to escape. He tries to convince Batwing to seek help from Reed Richards or Hank Pym, but Batwing's only concern is finding a new place to hide where nobody will find him. When the wall crawler tries to explain the situation to Randolph, the politician is uninterested and vows to use his influence to have him branded a criminal and arrested. Tired of listening to this, Spider-Man webs Cherry's mouth shut and stuffs him into a garbage can before swinging away. After he has gotten away, Spider-Man thinks about Batwing's fate and hopes the authorities and media will discover the creature's diary and realize the boy is no threat. However, he has come up with a conclusion as to what to do about Tim McGever. The next day, Peter Parker pays Tiny a visit at home. Noticing the bully is sporting a black eye, Peter asks how he got it. Tiny makes up an excuse that he got it playing football, obviously trying to hide the fact that his father abuses him. Peter convinces Tiny that he needs a tutor, and he begins studying the McGever to raise his grades and get him back on the football team. Although Peter doesn't know how to fix all the problems in McGever's household, Peter figures that this will at least help him things get back on the right track. Notes: chronologically speaking, the story takes place between Amazing Spider-Man 6 and 7. One of the other students makes fun of Peter, asking if he thinks he is Sergei Karnavov. At the time, the story, Sergei was a simple celebrity known for his animal hunts, as this story takes place prior to the first attempt to hunt down in Spider-Man that happened in Amazing Spider-Man number 15. Next issue, Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 3, Sandblasted. This story takes place after the events of Strange Tales 115. Betty Brant. Oh, Peter, nobody could sprain his arm playing volleyball. What really happened? Peter Parker. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. It happened in the air while I was fighting the vulture for dear life. Betty Brant. Oh, well, ask a silly question. Peter Parker. So let's stick to the volleyball story, okay? Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 7, The Return of the Vulture. Following his defeat at the hands of Spider-Man, the Vulture has been spending his time in prison, secretly smuggling parts from the prison machine shop into his cell so that he can recreate his flying technology. This time correcting the flaw which caused his defeat last time. Perfecting the device, the Vulture breaks out of prison. When Peter Parker hears about this breakout, he goes after the Vulture as Spider-Man. I've got to get closer. My anti-magnetic inverter only works at short range. So we meet again, Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't suspect that his anti-magnetic device, which defeated me before, will not work this time. Therefore, he will allow me to get close to him, which is what I want to do. He's flying straight towards me. Perfect. This will be our final encounter, you young fool. I'm glad I brought my camera too. What a picture this will make. Jameson ought to pay me a fortune. I'll snap him just as my inverter makes the spiral to the ground. Now, it worked. I'm almost disappointed. It was too easy. I'll pretend to be falling. He's sure to follow me down. He's descending totally unprepared for my next move. Oh, what a beautiful revenge this will be for the Vulture. Did I see a smile as he started to fall? It must be my imagination. Perfect. He can't travel as quickly as I. He has to descend ledge by ledge, and now while he's on the ledge above, he can't see me. He doesn't realize I'm swooping up to him again. My spider sense is starting to tingle, but why? The Vulture must be a prisoner on the ground. By now, there can't be any danger here. If I timed it right, he should be just reaching the edge of the parapet. Ah! Surprise, Spider-Man. Even you cannot ward off a double uppercut while you're completely off balance. Momentarily stunned by the force and total unexpectedness of the Vulture's attack, Spider-Man is helpless before his powerful foes continue onslaught. This time, the victory is mine. You never suspected I had improved my wings so that they could change magnetic poles instantly, nullifying your useless inverter. So that's what, oof. Happy landing, Spider-Man. Got to shoot my web fast on the building break, my fall. Missed. Must try again, falling too fast, too far. Can't do it. Fell short, no time for another try. Got to spin around in air to slowly my rate descent. Must break fall. Will take all my spider strength. Spin, keep spinning, keep oof. Spider-Man is finished. My revenge is complete. Now the vulture is supreme. Ow, my arm must have landed on it. Feels like it's broken. That night. Please stop worrying, Mrs. Parker. I assure you it's only a sprain. Although it is painful one, your nephew's arm will be fine in a few weeks. A few weeks, the vulture won't wait that long. Oh, well, I'll worry about the vulture when the time comes. Right now, my biggest problem is Aunt May. You're sure he shouldn't go to the hospital, doctor? Positive, Miss Parker. Now promise you won't play those dangerous volleyball games in the schoolyard anymore, dear. Not for the next week, Aunt May. Oh, come on, Mr. Jameson. Nobody's taken a close-up like this before. Well, all right, I'll pay $12.50. Better save your dough, sucker. You're gonna need it. Greetings, Jameson. If you'll pay for a mere photo of me, what will you give for the vulture in the flesh? The vulture? Holy cow, it's him. I'll tell you what, I'll set the price myself. So open your safe and empty it out for me. No, no, you can't rob my payroll. You mustn't. It's all I've got. It would have put me out of business. Shut up. I'm not interested in your troubles. Now do as I say or else. And stop blubbering like a coward. Have you no conscience, no feelings? You're as bad as Spider-Man. Bite your tongue, JJ. I've spent years building up this business. It means everything to me. You can't. Oh, I can't? The vulture can do anything as you about to learn. Jameson is such a skinflint. He'll probably rather get shot than part with his dough. I'll have to slip out now and try to save him, whether he likes it or not. Look, maybe we can make a deal. I can give you publicity. All I want is your money, mister. Your money. All right, Vulture. Playtime is over. Here's where we separate the men from the boys. Spider-Man, you're still alive. Well, you won't stay that way for long. Even you can be stopped by a bullet. Maybe so, but first you got to be able to fire the bullet. Bah! Guns aren't my style anyway. What does the mighty Vulture need a weapon for? I've got my wings. You'll have a harp, too, by the time I get through with you. Ow. He's using Jameson as a shield. I can't let go with a good punch. Oof. Spider-Man, look out, you fool. I'll be hurt. Let me go. That stopped him long enough for me to break out of here. I can't fight as well as close quarters. I need room, space to use my wings to their best advantage. What? What's going on? You stay here, Jameson, for now. It's a private battle between the Vulture and me. No, no, you two will wreck the place. Let him go. Leave him to the police. There isn't time. If he gets a chance to fly off, we may never trap him again. Oop. Get to the side of the road, gal. This must all be a bad dream. Police! Someone call the police. Those two maniacs must be stopped. Miss Brandt, where in the blazes are you? Here, Mr. Jameson, where it's safe. He's trying to find a window he can fly through. I've got to stop him. I warn you, Spider-Man, stay out of my way while you still can. Mister, I thrive on warnings. In fact, someday I'm going to write an article for the Reader's Digest titled, The Most Unforgettable Warning I've Ever Known. Very funny. Get down from here. Ha! You missed by a mile. My ledgers, my files. Look what you're doing. Oh, go slide down a barbed wire fence. Can't make it to the window up there. I'll try a lower floor. Spider-Man can never defeat me. If I ever catch that masked menace, I'll sue him for all he's worth. I'll put him in jail for life. I'll make him pay for this. This isn't exactly flying, but it'll serve my purpose. Who's chasing you? The place is haunted. This is more like it. I'm in the press room. I have enough flying space again. I'll destroy Spider-Man forever now. If he's a fool enough to follow me here, I had a hunch the Vulture would land down here. The odds are all in his favor now, but that never stopped me before. He doesn't see me yet, so here goes nothing. Hey, what? It's you again. Well, it sure isn't the Lone Ranger. Don't expect me so soon, did you? You just made your last fatal mistake, Spider-Man. I'll shake you off like a dog shakes a flea. I think your modesty is what I like best about you. Let's see if a wise crack will help you once you're falling into those big press rollers. I've got to keep ribbing him. My only chance is to make him so angry that he won't notice my injured arm. Suddenly, the agile vulture changes direction and zooms up to the ceiling with a telling effect. Ow, my arm. Pain is too great. Can't hold on. Ha! I caught you off guard. If I hit those giant rollers, I'm done. My web has to save me now. This time there'll be no second chance. Made it. Now to descend slowly. Oh no, the vulture's cutting my life-saving strand. I had a hunch you'd try that, Spider-Man, but while dangling above the colorful teenager has time enough to estimate the distance, and while one mighty lip, whew, that was a close one. Got to reach the vulture before he flies out of range. But how? Uh-oh, my spider sense warned me he's waiting above. It's a trap, but I'll let him spring it. Ha-ha! You blundered right into my trap as I knew you would. Well, mercy me. I'll take you up so high that you will be completely helpless. Even a spider is powerless in the sky. Are you sure you were never vaccinated with a phonographic needle? Your flippancy is wasted on me, Spider-Man. You're just whistling in the dark. I know an icy fear must be gripping your heart right now. Well, I'll admit it, I've had happier moments. Before I drop you, Spider-Man, I want to say I admire your courage. Anyone else would be begging for their mercy. Now I'm almost sorry to have to do this. Yeah, I can see that. You're all broken up. Well, I'm going to tell you a secret. This little party isn't over yet. You pinned my wings with your web. You fool. If I cannot fly, we both will perish. Well, who wants to live forever? I don't want to die. Save me. Sob, do something. Please, please save me. I can't. I'm too busy admiring your tight-lipped courage. Well, anything to stop your moaning. Suppose I spin a little web while we fall. At a time like this, sure, it might be fun. Specifically, make it with a new semi-solid fluid which enables it to act like a parachute. You had this plan in mind all the time. Darn right I did, Curly. I don't depend on my wings to do my thinking for me, like some guy I mentioned. Well, playmate, this is where I get off. I'll let you solo the rest of the way down. If you enjoy it, it could make a great hobby. You haven't heard the last of me, Spider-Man. You mean you're going to flap your lips till the bitter end? When Jameson cusses out Spider-Man for causing chaos in the newspaper, Spider-Man shoots webbing in his mouth before leaving to change back into his civilian disguise. Then he sneaks back into the office and hide out with Betty Brand as Jameson storms through the office trying to get the webbing out of his mouth. Notes: for the first time, a costume villain of Spider-Man, Vulture in this case, returns to face him for a second time. This story begins with a recap of the Vulture's previous battle with Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man 2. A number of details in this story should be considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. These details include the type of equipment in the prison machine shop, the handheld radio that is used by one of Peter's classmates, the type of camera Spider-Man uses, the typewriters in the Daily Bugle office, and the fact that employees are given pay envelopes. The addresses of Peter's residence is given as a quiet residential neighborhood in Forest Hills in this story. Peter Parker eventually asks Betty Brant out for dinner in Untold Tales of Spider-Man 3. This issue marks the first and maybe only time where Spider-Man used his webs to shoot J. Jonah Jameson up, something seen in the first Sammy Raimi directed Spider-Man film. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 8, The Terrible Threat of the Living Brain, and Spider-Man Tackles the Torch. Up next. Hey, Sandy, is that your face, or are you wearing a beach? Quote the Spider-Man. This story takes place after the events of Strange Tales 115, Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 3. Sandblasted. A pair of police officers open the back of their paddy wagon to check on the prisoner, and we shocked to discover that he escaped. This comes as a shock to them as they figured that the Sandman was under wraps after he was defeated in his recent battle with the Human Torch. With the Sandman on the loose again, they wonder who will be able to stop him. At the same moment, Spider-Man is literally jumping for joy because he finally mustered up the courage to ask Betty Brant out for a date. His mind thinks back to earlier that day, just after Spider-Man had defeated the Vulture, who was on the rampage at the offices of the Daily Bugle. Hiding behind the desk with Betty, Peter managed to ask Betty out on a date. After he left the Daily Bugle offices, Peter discovered that his injured arm has completely healed and no longer needs to wear it in a brace. His thoughts are interrupted by sounds of gunshots and screams. His spider sense draws the wall crawler to a nearby bank that is being robbed by the Sandman. Sandman surprises Spider-Man when he explains that he has no grudge against Spider-Man for his last defeat at his hands and asks the web swinger to look the other way. When Spider-Man refuses to let him get away with his crime, Sandman lashes out violently. Whoa! Fine, you want to get stomped into the ground? I'll stomp you into the ground. But don't say I didn't give you a chance. Pat yourself on the back much, big guy? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm the guy who beat you, not the other way around. You got lucky, pal. Yanked my web. Wasn't expecting that. Pulled me off balance. Just like you think you're gonna do again, trying to web me in the eyes like that, but I'm too smart for you. Come here. So tell me, Spidey. Oh, great. My spider sense is heavily warning me I'm in danger, but I'm in mid-air and no chance to dodge. Who's winning now? Fram. His punch, like having a building fall me. Gotta get some distance, clear my head, but he's not giving me a chance to recover. You're just not in my league, Spider-Man. You dare mess with me again and you'll get worse. Oh, much worse. Gotta stay conscious. Gotta get up. Can't pass out in the street. The Sandman easily pummels the wall crawler, leaving him laying on the ground while he escapes. As Spider-Man recovers from the beating, one of the officers on the scene tries to arrest him. Fearing getting unmasked, Spider-Man quickly escapes by scurrying down a nearby manhole. As he flees through the muck and sludge of sewers, Spider-Man wonders if other heroes have to suffer these sorts of indignities. The next morning, Peter gets dressed for the day, being cautious of his bruises that cover his body. Seeing that Peter is pale, Aunt May begins to worry. As Peter makes another excuse as to why he doesn't look well, he thinks about how he hates lying to his aunt, even if he's doing it to protect his double identity. When Peter arrives at school, he passes by Flash Thompson and his friends. Flash is boasting about how he thinks Spider-Man will eventually capture the Sandman. When Tiny asks Peter what he thinks about Spider-Man's recent defeat, he walks past the group without saying anything. Taking this as an insult, Jason Aniello shoves Peter into the locker. Due to his injuries sustained fighting the Sandman, the sudden shock to his injury causes Peter to black out. He later wakes up in the nurse's office. When she tries to convince Peter to go home for the day, Parker says he's fine and rushes out of the office. Having seen the bruises on his body, the nurse would have suspected the boy was being abused at home, but knows better since Peter lives with his elderly aunt. She chalks it up to the boy not wanting to be seen as a roughneck, giving his reputation. After school, Peter goes to the Daily Bugle, where he turns in his photos of Spider-Man, Sandman battle to J. Jonah Jameson. As Jameson tries to come up with a suitable headline, Peter hates himself for selling photos that make Spider-Man look bad. However, he has no choice because he and Aunt May need the money. As he walks out of Jonah's office, Peter wonders if he should give up being Spider-Man since he was defeated by the Sandman before and fears that it might happen again. On his way, he is approached by Betty Brant, who asks if they're still on for their date on Friday. Seeing how miserable she looks, Betty asks Peter if he's okay. He loses his temper on her, sarcastically telling her that life is peachy before storming out of the office. Over the next few days, the Sandman begins a string of robberies. Thanks to his sand powers, he is able to evade capture from the authorities. His crime spree eventually gains the attention of the Avengers, prompting Giant Man, the Wasp, and the Iron Man to also try looking for the villain. Meanwhile, Peter Parker remains on the sidelines, becoming more and more depressed that he can't do anything about it. When Jason Aniello tries to flick a paperclip at Peter in class, Liz Allen stops him, telling him to stop bullying Parker. By Friday, Parker's bruises have all been faded, and he is back in perfect health, just in time for his date with Betty Brant. However, when they go out for dinner, Peter is lost in thought. Noticing that something is troubling him, Betty gives him a pep talk about convincing him to get over his self-doubt relating to someone she knew that gave up on himself. Inspired to go back and find the Sandman, Peter pays for the dinner and tells her that he has something that he needs to do. Searching the city, Spider-Man eventually comes across a Sandman as he's making his escape from Garbiola's Aerospace Laboratories. Spider-Man, I warned you once to stay away from me. I won't be so easy on you twice. Oh, that was a warning? Gee, I've been in Bermuda all week catching some sun, or I've been back on your butt sooner. You really think I could be warned off by walking, talking anthill? Their battle sends them crashing into the main lab. Nobody makes fun of me, you hear me? Nobody. Well, just catch me, nobody, grit guy, because every time I look at you, all I can think of is got dry, itchy skin. Try new moisturizing cream. This is really stupid. He's a attacking all out, and I'm only staying out of his way by inches unless I think of something fast. I am dead meat. You think you're so cool, huh? Nothing bothers you. Nothing scares you. Well, I'll fix that. Huh? He has no idea how scared I am. My laughing him off is making him feel inconsequential, and he can't stand it. Maybe I can use this. Hey, Sandy, keeping him enraged, irrational. Is that your face? So he doesn't notice. Or are you wearing a beach? What am I doing right in front of him? There. Huh? What are you doing? Oh, you finally notice, huh? Well, too late. You're standing in front of some kind of experimental turbine, and I've just turned it on. Full power. Oh, what? Oh, crud. You're not getting away from with this, Spider-Man. You just bought yourself a world of hurt. I was willing to let bygones be bygones, but now on it's personal. You got that? It's personal. Surprisingly, the scientists are relieved that Spider-Man saved them even though the turbine was damaged, and it will cost less to fix it than to pay the Sandman protection money. Although he thinks this will reflect positively on him in the press, the very next day, Peter's upset to see the Daily Bugle accusing Spider-Man of helping the Sandman to escape. Adding insult to injury, Jonah is still gloating about it when Peter goes to the Daily Bugle to ask Betty out on another date. She tells him to hold on for a moment and transfer Jonah an incoming call from his son John. Taking the call, Jonah is shocked by what John has called to tell him. John Jameson assures his father that has told him he is true and he is coming to New York in a few weeks to begin arrangements for his startling revelation. Notes: the story takes place after the events of Strange Tales 115. The flashback here takes immediately after the events of Spider-Man 7. Peter's arm is depicted as being in a sling. This is because he injured his arm battling the Vulture in the same story. Sandman states that he has battled Spider-Man that one time. He's referring to their first battle, which took place in Amazing Spider-Man 4. However, he fought Spider-Man an additional time after this, as seen in Giant-Sized Spider-Man Volume 2, Number 1. The omission of this battle is here because Giant-Sized Spider-Man Volume Issue Number 1 was published years after this story. The person Betty was referring to here is her brother Bennett. Bennett used to be a successful lawyer until his gambling desk got in trouble. Bennett's fall from grace is detailed in Untold Tales of Spider-Man Number 12 and Amazing Spider-Man Number 11. Publication note: was reprinted and re-released in 2006 but contained the same content and slightly altered cover. It still said November on the cover but December on the inside. All advertisements were replaced with the ones from 2006. Next issue: Untold Tales of Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 4, The Measure of a Man. Say you don't happen to be related to another sunshine boy named J. Jonah Jameson, do you? Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 8. The Terrible Threat of the Living Brain. When Mr. Petty of ICM Company brings in a new robotic computer dubbed the Living Brain to Midtown High for a demonstration, Peter insults Flash Thompson's intelligence when he voices his ignorance of the machine's value. This causes a brief scuffle where Peter's glasses are broken. Flash challenges Peter to a fight after school. During the demonstration of the computer's powers, that it can answer any question given the correct input. Two of the hired men who helped bring the devices in decide to steal it after hoping to use it to win bets. Peter's class decides to ask the computer if it can figure out Spider-Man's real identity, and Peter is asked to input the information. Peter is relieved when the device gives out its answers in a code that Peter is assigned to decode for the next day's class. When Flash tries to take it from Peter, this prompts Mr. Warren to suggest the boys deal with the rivalry in a boxing match. During the match, Peter's afraid of really hurting Flash with his spider strength, and his first punch, although pulled, knocks Flash for a loop, but Flash dismisses it as a joke he played on Peter to save face in front of his classmates. As the match continues, the two men try to steal the living brain, but they accidentally short-circuit the computer, causing it to go on a rampage through the school. When Flash is distracted by calls for help, Peter lands a punch which knocks Flash out, and everyone calls it a cheap shot. Before anyone could see that Flash was literally knocked out by Peter, they learn that the living brain is on a rampage. This gives Peter a chance to carry Flash away to safety and change it to Spider-Man. Run, run! The brain's getting closer. Nothing can stop it. It's trying to catch us all. Look, there's Spider-Man. Maybe he can do something. Keep running, all of you. I'll take over now. It's like a huge, invulnerable engine of destruction. Perhaps I can land on top of it from the ceiling. Made it. Whap. Oh, I forgot the machine can think its own fashion. It swatted me off as easy as a pie. Somersaulting in midair, the agile Spider-Man regains his balance and lands lightly on his feet as the rampaging machine continues to rumble down the hall. I've got to get ahead of it and warn the other kids to run to safety. Clear out of here, all of you. Hurry. Look on the wall. It's Spider-Man. Do as he says. Run for the exit quickly. And now I can concentrate on the brain. I'll try to slow him down with a quick forming web. It worked. It's stopping him. He's grasping the web. I could swear he's testing it, analyzing its strength. I hear he gears moving as though he's decision how to pressure to apply. Ah, that's impossible. He can't break my web. But the mighty machine plows through the deceptively strong webbing as though it doesn't exist. Phew, he's stronger than I thought. Have to try something else. First, I'll test his thinking ability. I'll let him hear me running, then I'll see what he does. He does think like a human. At the sound of my footsteps, he turned. He's extending his arms, striking at me as a man would, and he's fast, faster than I would have guessed. He knows I'm an enemy. He's after me. I've got to stay out of reach of those powerful arms. Oh no, the brain figured out my speed and increased his own enough to overtake me. He's outmaneuvered me. He really is the fastest thinking machine on the earth. I'm trapped. But although he can outthink a human, he can't outguess one. If I can make an unexpected move like this, but he'll remember that maneuver, I'll never be able to trick him again with it. I've got to keep leaping from wall to wall, change my motion pattern all the time. If I repeat any action, he'll remember it and get me. And a few seconds later, Spider-Man's words come true. Thud! Ow! It was hiding behind that door waiting. But it wasn't yet learned how great my strength is. Thinks this will stop me. It's gone. Thinks it finished me off, but I'll have to be more careful next time. The brain never forgets once it sees me again. I'll realize the extent of my strength and it will fight harder than ever. But suddenly, now's our chance. The brain is gone. Let's clear out of here. Yeah, before anyone realizes we caused all the trouble by messing up its controls when we tried to steal it. Ah, so that's it. I knew the brain couldn't have become a menace by itself, but my first job is to still find it and render it harmless. If I could only find a way to reach its control panel, maybe I could figure it out. That noise down the hall, it must be straight ahead. He caught me. He can move faster than I suspected. He thinks so fast that I can actually second guess my actions, and his electronic circuits can adjust his mechanical body as fast as he can think. When I exert more pressure, he automatically increases his power to nullify mine. Say, what's he trying to do now? Holy smoke! He can think. He's trying to dislodge me by hitting the walls, and he's using the door like a fly swatter. Well, here goes nothing. Twat! If I hold tight enough, he won't be able to reach the wall to pound anymore. But I can't hold on much longer. He's exerting too much power. He's spinning around, causing me to spin also. That hunk of machine can actually outthink a human brain. However, I'll beat him. He shook me loose. Look out below. He's leaving. He feels there's nothing I can do to stop him. I'm not worth bothering about anymore. Oh no, some fool kids came back into the school to see what's going on. He's headed towards them. They won't have a chance. Got him. Now, if I can just reach the control panel. Look, Spider-Man saved us. Yeah, but now who's gonna save Spider-Man? At least I diverted his attention from those kids, but he's moving so fast I can't reach the controls. This is the showdown. He won't rest now until I am completely destroyed. I've got to hope he can't think of a way to do it before I could do something. There, I finally reached his control switches, but he's headed for the stairs. I've got seconds to figure things out. I did it. Flip the main cutoff switch. He's incapable of further independent actions, but he can't stop himself. He's going to crash down those stairs with me. Going along for the ride. Can't wiggle off in time. This is a nutty way for a superhero to meet his end. Just one slim chance if my spider web is strong enough to hold us both. Geronimo! Crash! It held. The web held. We're swinging back in again. I stopped him. Then when the now deactivated living brain finally swings to a halt, the triumphant teenager readjusts his control, lowering the machine's arm so that he can get free. It was a great ride, pal, but I am not sorry it's over. Changing back to Peter Parker after he decides to have a little fun when Flash meets up with his classmates. Peter identifies that Flash wasn't seen while the robot was on a rampage and suggests to his classmates that Flash might be Spider-Man's true identity. His classmates, having witnessed Flash diving during the boxing match, are more or less convinced. Spider-Man tackles the torch. When Spider-Man happens upon a party thrown by Human Torch's girlfriend, Dory Evans, he decides to crash the party to show up that the Torch as the superior superhero. Okay, Big Mouth, you had your chance. If you won't leave peacefully, I'm going to torch you out on your pointy ear. Flame on! Who writes your dialogue, Squirt? Frank Merriwell? If it's a fight you want, come on, outside. I'll just do that little thing, wise guy. And away we go. Here, this'll bring you down to earth laughing, boy. Watch that flame, cornball. Those webs cost money. He floats through the air with the greatest of ease. I guess that'll teach you not to mess around with the Human Torch. You kidding? I just want to see what you can do. And now it's my turn. Don't go away, Johnny boy. Okay, you animated insect, you asked for it. Here I come. Mercy me, I'd better prepare a little welcome for such a big, bad, blazing bird brain. Come in, get it, Torchy. This'll cool you off, but for good. That was very unfriendly of you, little man. Also very unwise, because now I'm really mad. I guess that's my cue to fall to my knees and beg for mercy with tears in my eyes, eh? Well, you got the wrong character this time. So how about giving up now while you can? But drying off within seconds due to the inner heat generated by his intense anger, the Torch tries another maneuver. Here's a little stunt you haven't counted on, meathead. I can focus my flame on a small plot of ground, making it erupt like this. Watch it, fella. A thing like this can give a guy a headache. Very funny. Now let's see how these flaming buzzsaws amuse you. I'll make you wish you never heard of the Human Torch by the time you're through with me. I notice you're not making with those wisecracks now, big man. Those things are coming too close for comfort, but I'm not going to tell him that. Maybe I just should have quit when I was ahead. Maybe it's not fair to use so much flame against him, but I can't help it. That guy really gets under my skin. Come back, Slippery Sam. I'm not through with you yet. Here's this fireball. Will spread into a net, trapping you till you say uncle. But with his superhuman agility, Spider-Man easily darts through the spaces in the Torch's flame net. Phew. I guess I better just call it a draw and cut out of here. I don't expect that human matchstick to get so angry. Suddenly, before Spider-Man can regain his feet, he sees, can I give you a hand, son? Old Torchy ain't as easy to handle as you thought, huh? Mr. Fantastic Invisible and the muscle-bound thing. Wait, what are you doing? Knock it off, boy. Think I'm going to let you sit there and laugh at me? Well, you'll get another thing coming, all of you. No one's laughing at you, fool. Stop forcing us to get rough. Clam up, Skinny. What's the wrong with getting rough? I'm itching to tangle with that clown. I'm really mad now. I don't care how many of you there are. I'll clobber you all, and then I'll go back and settle up with the flaming freak. Stand back, boys and girls. Old Benjamin J. Grimm is going to knock a little sense into the creepy fathead. For the love of Pete, where'd you go? I guess you'll three guesses, Gargoyle. Well, ain't you the little fun boy? I hope your insurance is all paid up, Bright Eyes. Your concern for my welfare touches me deeply, handsome. When did you join the Salvation Army? Phooey. Everybody's a comedian nowadays. Not everybody. You're a bore thing. And now I'll make a pair of wings out of my web fluid and crash, dive down, and pulverize you. Now something, fathead. I was hoping you'd try that. Easy, Ben. He's only a lad. Yeah, well, this lad is going to demolish that big ape. But before Spider-Man and the thing can tangle. Hey, let go. What's going on here? Nice work, Sue. This nonsense has gone far enough. Now, you just stop it. You're entirely too clever and adorable to be fighting with us. I'll bet you're as handsome as you are muscular under that mask. Cut it out, Sue. I just ate. Now, Why don't you boys just shake hands like gentlemen and bury the hatchet? I like to bury it all right, and I'll give you 3 guesses where. Well, look who just made a funny. Go on back to your dull party torch. I wouldn't join you on a bet. It's a good thing you got Mr. Fantastic and the thing to wet nurse you. And as for your sister Sue, she's the only good thing about the overrated Fantastic Four. For goodness sake, look what he left. He spun it out of his web fluid for me. Like we always say, Spider-Man's not so dumb. He picks his enemies very carefully. More thrills, fun, and fast-moving fantasies next issue. See you then. The Living Brain, first appearance. International Computing Machines, ICM Corporation, first appearance. Mr. Petty, first appearance. Charlie Murphy, first appearance. Charlie, first appearance. Sally, first appearance. Notes: the terrible threat of the living brain. Any mention of the living brain technical specifications and technology should be considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. Spider-Man tackles the torch. A supplement in Untold Tales of Spider-Man 25 pushes this story ahead in continuality. Although it appears to follow the first story in this issue, it actually takes place much later, following the events of Amazing Spider-Man 21. Next issue, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 9, The Man Called Electro. Don't say another word, my boy. I know what young love's like. I'm feeling so good. I'll not only give Miss Brandt the night off, but I'll get you into an event of the season. My latest anti-Spider-Man lecture. Bring your camera. You can take pictures for our coverage of the event, and I'll deduct the price of the tickets from your check. J. Jonah Jameson. Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 4. The story happens after Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 8, The Measure of a Man. Spider-Man is battling a new group of superpowered individuals who call themselves the Spacemen, who are attempting to steal a safe. As the battle rages, it is being recorded by John Jameson. The wall crawler strikes their leader, Gantry, and dodges laser blasts from satellite. However, he is struck from behind by a flyer known as Orbit. As he recovering from the blow, Vacuum tries to suck the web slinger into a void that compresses his body. However, Spider-Man manages to snare Gantry with a web line and tosses him in his place. With the tide of the battle changing, Gantry orders Satellite to bring down the roof in order to cover their escape. Spider-Man survives the assault, and Jameson is satisfied that he has filmed enough footage and has the helicopter take him back. Later, John pays a visit to his father, J. Jonah Jameson, at the Daily Bugle. There tells his father that he has come to examine Spider-Man as NASA is interested if his body could handle the rigors of space travel for a special mission. Jonah is furious that NASA would even consider such a thing, insisting that Spider-Man is a criminal. John reminds his father that has not been any evidence to prove that, despite what his editorials say. He wisely keeps quiet about the fact that on his last mission for NASA, he was rescued by Spider-Man. When Jameson questions John's sense of pride, John tells his father that it is not a matter of pride, but it's about finding the right person for the job. However, despite this, he doesn't know much about Spider-Man's personal life. He figures that Spider-Man must live a solitary life based on his independent and solitary nature. John also suspects that Spider-Man has a lot of friends. He also suspects that he's a good athlete, taking advantage of his amazing agility. John couldn't be any more incorrect, as at that moment Peter is being seen out the door by his Aunt May. May is concerned that he forgot to wear his glasses, but Peter tells her that they were broken the other day. He assures his Aunt May that he doesn't need glasses anymore and heads off for school. On his way, Flash Thompson and friends pull up in a car. When Flash offers Peter a ride, he gladly accepts. However, Thompson is only teasing and speeds off. Upset by the prank, Peter quickly leaps up into a nearby tree and contemplates filling Flash's tail pole with webbing. However, no sooner does he have his web shooters on, Peter decides against it. After all, fearing that he may compromise his double identity and fears what such a revelation might do to his aunt's frail health. Back at the Daily Bugle, Jonah scoffs at John's psychological profile on the wall crawler, saying he knows nothing about the masked vigilante. That's when Betty Brant comes in and tells him that she should take a call from a reporter, Frederick Fossel. He's reporting that the spacemen are putting on a press conference at City Hall. Jonah rushes himself and John down to City Hall to hear their press conference. There, the spaceman leader explains to the gathered audience that they were part of a secret government task force. They were sent into space on a mission and were bombarded with cosmic rays like the Fantastic Four, giving them their amazing powers. He then explains their first order of business to track down the vigilante known as Spider-Man and bring him to justice. J. Jonah Jameson completely buys this explanation. However, John isn't sure what government agency the spaceman could have employed by, but knows for sure it wasn't NASA. Still, Jonah rolls with it and gives spacemen the full backing of the Daily Bugle. Hearing this on the evening news upsets Peter Parker so much that it gives him a headache. Over the next few days, Spider-Man investigates a series of robberies leading to clashes with the spacemen. With each battle, the Daily Bugle publishes stories in favor of the spacemen. During most of the recent battles, an angry mob begins to form looking for the wall crawler's blood, forcing the wall crawler to flee. As the hero swings away and the ground starts asking spacemen for autographs, Gantry gloats over how everything is going according to plan. Later that evening, Peter goes to the Daily Bugle to sell his photos. Jonah is delighted by them, especially one where an old woman is striking the wall crawler. He is such a happy mood that he agrees to let Betty have the Friday night off so she and Peter can go on a date. As they are talking, John realizes that he omitted Peter Parker from the list of people he wanted to question about Spider-Man and decides to speak with the youth. When Peter leaves, Jonah asks his son if he's giving up on the idea of recruiting Spider-Man and NASA. John isn't ready to write up the wall crawler yet, but Jameson tells his son that his plans to change that. Sure enough, J. Jonah Jameson puts on a ticker tape parade for the spacemen in order to boost their profile. During the parade, Captain George Stacy sends his daughter off with her friend Harry Osborn so he can talk to Jonah. He's upset that Jonah would manipulate people by putting on this parade, especially since Spider-Man has not proven to be responsible for any crimes. John is also unimpressed with the display, but Jonah is more concerned about where Peter Parker is, hoping the boy is getting good pictures of this event. That's when Spider-Man crashed the parade, accusing the spacemen of being crooks. He explained that he's uncovered the spacemen responsible for the string of robberies and was able to find them by using a device he tracked through their radio signals used to communicate with each other. Gantry denies his allocation and orders his teammates to attack the web slinger. With vacuum surrounding Spider-Man sucking out all the air, Orbit then uses power to make the wall crawler fly out of control. However, Spider-Man managed to snag a web line onto the satellite and spin him out of control. He then uses his momentum to slam into Gantry and Orbit, forcing them all out of Vacuum's mass. They all crash into Spaceman's float, breaking it open and revealing all the money that the spaceman has stolen. With their ruse exposed, the spacemen are quickly and publicly realize that they have been manipulated by the spacemen. This revelation also greatly angers J. Jonah Jameson as he's once again been humiliated by the wall crawler. Later, John meets with his father to tell him that NASA decided to scrap plans because they figure that Spider-Man's enhanced abilities prevent them from learning how space travel will affect normal humans. However, Jonah isn't listening as he's still fuming over Spider-Man's interference. As John leaves the office, Jonah mutters to himself about how he doesn't believe that Spider-Man is as heroic as he seems and vows to prove that he is a criminal. Notes: Spider-Man saved John Jameson's life in Amazing Spider-Man #1. Peter's glasses were broken by Flash Thompson in Amazing Spider-Man #8. The Fantastic Four got their powers from cosmic ray bombardment as seen in Fantastic Four #1. Spaceman first appearance, Gantry first appearance, Orbit first appearance, Vacuum first appearance, Satellite first appearance. The next issue, Untold Tales of Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 5, Vulture on the Wing. And how are you enjoying our fine alma mater today, Parker? Pulse quickening in anticipation of that chem quiz in the fourth quarter? Quote, Flash Thompson, Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 5. This story takes place after Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 8, Vulture on the Wing. After hearing that the Vulture escaped from prison, Spider-Man goes on the hunt for his old foe, finding him high above the city in the pouring rain. As a wall crawler and the Vulture fight it out above the city, Spider-Man quickly learns that the Vulture has increased the power of his wings. Eventually, Spider-Man gets fed up keeping the battle in the range of his automatic camera and decides to snare his foe with a web line. However, this does little to slow down the Vulture, who manages to shake Spider-Man loose. He then tells the wall crawler that he plans to steal the atomic accelerator that the army is bringing through the city. He's telling this to Spider-Man because he intends for the wall crawler to try and stop him, confident he will eliminate the irritating arachnoid once and for all. While the Vulture flies away, Spider-Man tries to catch him in a web line again, but the villain is too fast and quickly gets out of range. Going to collect his camera, Spider-Man laments on how J. Jonah Jameson will likely use his photos to convince the city that he is in league with the Vulture, but he needs the money. Unfortunately, the old Parker luck strikes again as he discovers that the camera was smashed during the battle and it will cost money to get the camera fixed. The following morning, Peter Parker gets ready for work and is told by his Aunt May to make sure he keeps his appointment with his optometrist. Peter dances around, confirming this appointment to remind Aunt May that she has a trip to pack for. As he walks to school, he thinks about his Aunt May is going to Florida and hopes this will distract her from the fact his glasses were recently broken by Flash Thompson. However, Peter discovered that the powers have corrected his vision and he now fears that an eye exam might reveal something out of the ordinary and expose his double identity. When he arrives at school, Peter is approached by Flash and his friends. Flash says he feels bad about for Peter's glasses and actually repaired them. At first, Peter is grateful until he realizes that the Flash is playing a prank. His glasses are nothing more than the bottom of Coke bottles that Flash fashioned into a pair of glasses. Unimpressed, Peter walks away without saying another word. When Tiny McLeaver and Liz Allen say nice things about Peter, this comes to a shock to both Jason Ianello and Flash Thompson. A few hours later at lunchtime, Peter web slings up to the Bronx Armory to warn General Thaddeus Ross about the Vulture's intent to steal the atomic accelerator from the military. General Ross is unhappy to hear this, but wonders what it was in it for the Wallcrawler to travel all this way to give him a warning. Spider-Man explains that he is only doing his duty to his country, but Ross doesn't buy it. When he suggests Spider-Man wants something, the young hero makes a mistake of suggesting payment for his service. This confirms the bias that Thaddeus Ross has already formed in his head, and he orders his officers to arrest the Wallcrawler, prompting a hasty retreat from Spider-Man. As Spider-Man swings back to Queens to get back to his class, he thinks about letting the military deal with the Vulture without him, but realizes that he cannot shirk his responsibility. Back at school, Peter suffers through a game of dodgeball in gym class and was asked to stay behind and help clean up by Mr. Murch, the gym teacher. When Peter finally gets to the locker room, he discovers that someone stole his gym bag while he was in the shower and now has no clothes. The culprit is Jason Ianello, who decides to humiliate Parker after Liz Allen said she found him kind of attractive. However, this prank is poorly received by his classmates. As everyone is distracted, they fail to see Peter crawling down the side of the building outside so he can recover his clothes. Inside, the only person who encourages Jason is Sally of Real, but this does little to ease Jason's sour move, as he believes if Flash did the same thing, it would have garnered laughs from his fellow classmates. After school, Peter goes to the Daily Bugle, where he gets a list of train timetables from Betty Brant. He tells her it is to plan his aunt trip to Florida, but in reality, he's using it to figure out what time the military train will be passing through the city. That's when J. Jonah Jameson storms out of his office and demands to know where Peter's photos of the Vulture from the night before are. Peter explains that his camera is being repaired and he could use an advance in order to pay for his repair. As usual, Jameson refuses to give Peter an advance. While he is at the office, Peter asks Betty out to the movies on the weekend and she accepts. That evening, Spider-Man has tracked down the military train and leaps on board. There he is ambushed by soldiers who catch him in a net. The Wallcrawler is taken into the freight car where General Ross is guarding the accelerator. He is unhappy to see Spider-Man here and warns his men not to make any sudden step because the atomic accelerator is unstable and a sudden jolt will cause it to explode. As he is chastising Spider-Man, the Vulture enters the freight car armed with a gun. Getting the drop on the soldiers and Spider-Man still trapped in the net, the Vulture easily steals the accelerator and escapes. That's when Spider-Man breaks free from the net and follows his foe. Spider-Man exits the train car, pursuing the Vulture. He quips, "I'm sorry, sir, but you exceeded your carry-on limit. May I check this for you?" while snatching the device. However, Spider-Man's spider senses alerts him, causing him to inadvertently drop the accelerator. Despite the Vulture's belief that he has the upper hand and will successfully steal the accelerator, Spider-Man is determined not to embarrass himself. As the Vulture flies away with the accelerator, Spider-Man leaps onto the back of the Vulture, who is soaring at extreme speeds. Despite Spider-Man's unexpected move, the Vulture remains convinced that he still holds the upper hand in the situation. The soldiers unleash a barrage of machine gun fire at both the Vulture and Spider-Man. In the midst of the chaos, Spider-Man reflects. The train weaves, swoop back near, and the soldiers don't realize that I'm trying to save their gizmo. As far as they're concerned, we're both targets. Meanwhile, the Vulture hands off off the accelerator to Spider-Man to hold. The Vulture forcefully knocks all the soldiers off the train, but Spider-Man, embodying his heroism, quickly creates a web landing for them to safely land on. Despite the chaos, Spider-Man remains determined to receive the accelerator and return it to General Ross. The Vulture remarks, "You're not dreaming of victory, boy, are you?" Spider-Man thinks to himself, "Nuts. He manipulated me again. He knew I couldn't let those soldiers die, so he gave me the accelerator knowing he could take it back while I was saving them. Gotta pour out the webbing, get a cushion under all of them." Just as his spider sense goes off, the Vulture boasts. Ha! Once again, the Vulture is triumphant. With remarkable speed, he delivers an uppercut to Spider-Man using his wings. Despite the spider senses warning him, Spider-Man is unable to react in time, and the accelerator flies out of his hands. The Vulture confidently declares, "But of course, my battle was excellent. My tactics equally so. I've wiped the slate clean of the previous defeats at your hands. But think about it, Spider-Man. There's nothing you can do. If you fire your informal webbing at me, I'll haul you away and dash your brains on the rocks. And if you stay on the train, I simply fly away scot-free." The Vulture definitely has the upper hand as we speak. Spider-Man retorts, "Don't break an arm patting yourself on the back, Vulture." Spider-Man says, "Because I learned earlier today," as he shoots the webbing at the accelerator. Spider-Man confidently states, "Your luck can change when you least expect it." The Vulture dismisses it, saying, "You've webbed the accelerator. No matter you're too groggy to put up much of a fight, I'll simply pull you from the train." Spider-Man replies, "Better hope you can do it fast then, or you haven't looked behind you recently." The Vulture remarks, "What a tunnel!" Spider-Man responds, "That's right. You keep hanging on to that thing, and then a second you're going to smack onto a solid rock. The accelerator blows up, and there isn't enough left to you to stuff a feather pillow. So, Vulture, what's it going to be? Is the Vulture going to hit the tunnel, or is he going to let the accelerator free?" That's when the Vulture notices they are heading toward a tunnel, and he has to fly away before impact. With the device back in his possession, Spider-Man returns to General Ross and his men. Hitching a ride back home, Spider-Man takes the time to rest atop a moving truck so he can relax. He thinks about how easily he was able to deal with the Vulture and thinks things are starting to look up for him. However, things are going to get complicated for Peter Parker. At dinner, Flash Thompson is entertaining his friends. This makes Jason Ionello incredibly jealous as nobody gives him the same sort of attention. Tired of playing second banana to Flash Thompson, Jason vows to do whatever it takes so people stop ignoring him forever. Notes: Flash broke Peter's glasses in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 8. If Peter actually needed glasses or not is a questionable at best. As revealed in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 1, the only reason why he wore glasses was that Aunt May feared that Peter might get an eye strain from all the books he read. Next issue, Untold Tales of Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 6, Double Jeopardy. Jewels, money, no matter how much I take, I want more, much more, and with my great power, nothing can stop me from getting it. Electro. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 9. The man called Electro. Spider-Man is dashing past a group of pedestrians who are wondering where he is off to. Then the police are happy to see Spider-Man swinging by to help them stop the gunman, but he just swings by. Soon we find out the reason for Spider-Man rushing by was to get a prescription for Aunt May. On the other side of town, while Peter sits up at Aunt May's bedside, a new menace in the form of Electro charges himself up with electricity and sets out to steal the contents of an armored car carrying gold. After using electric shocks to scare the guards and surrounding them in a ring of electricity, he manages to get what he wants. The next morning, Peter calls a doctor and he explains that Aunt May's health is worse and that she wants to go to the hospital. Aunt May is worried that Peter cannot look after himself, but he assures her he can. Later that day, Peter goes to class but ignores the taunts of Flash Thompson as his mind is focused on the well-being of Aunt May. When Peter finally visits Aunt May, he finds Betty Brant there visiting. Peter has much on his mind and leaves abruptly without seeing Betty home. Meanwhile, Electro decides to make a withdrawal at the Forest Hills Bank. There he uses electric shocks to keep the bank manager and his guest J. Jonah Jameson busy while he opens the time-lock vault with his electrical powers. The next edition of the Daily Bugle is printed, and there's an article claiming the criminal Electro is Spider-Man. Spider-Man searches for Electro and comes up empty a few times, and when he finally finds him, Electro defeats him. Goes the best lad plans of mice and men so often go astray, for at that instant, Electro sees Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Lucky for me, I caught your reflection in the mirror on the wall. That was careless of me, but no harm done. I'll still catch him. I've been hoping we'd meet. I've been anxious to prove that my power is far greater than yours. Whew. He hurled that lightning bolt before I knew what happened. I ducked it only by sheer dumb luck. No time to kid around. I'll have to use my web fast. Ah, got you, twerp. Still want to brag about your power, playmate? You'll have plenty of chance to do so when you're telling it to the judge. This corny web of yours won't stop me. My electric ways can burn out of anything, and anyone stupid enough to touch me while my body is in electric shock condition has only himself to blame for the consequences. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but it was his own fault. He didn't give me a chance to explain the danger of touching me. Well, with him out of the way, no single human is strong enough to challenge me. The next edition of the Bugle again claims to have proof that Spider-Man is Electro, which makes the public ask questions about who Spider-Man really is. And in the secret hideaway in the heart of the city, haha, Jameson will have a long wait if he's going to wait for Spider-Man to disprove anything. Now with Spider-Man out of the way, I'll really keep things popping around here. Nobody will even remember Spider-Man when I'm finished, and nobody even remotely suspects who Electro really is. Nobody knows that I used to be an ordinary electric lineman named Max Dillon. Max, I need you. Harris is in a trouble on a high tension pole. You've got to help him down. Forget it. I don't do anything for nothing. How much bonus will you give me? But the man's life is in danger, and you're our best pole man, okay? You win. We'll pay $100. That's more like it now. Don't get your jaws in an uproar. I'll bring him down. Dylan is a rat. He'd have left Harris up there if I didn't offer to pay him. If he wasn't our best pole man, I'd bounce him in a second. But I didn't care what anybody thought of me, and then it happened. 1,000,000 to 1 chance I was working alone on a pole when lightning struck. Zzz. I should have been killed instantly, but by a fantastic freak of fate, due to the way I had been grasping the electric wires, the two bolts of currents canceled each other out. I'm still alive. In fact, I feel better, stronger than ever. A short time later, when some wire clothes hangers got tangled over my arm, I discovered the truth about myself. Hey, there's current passing from my body through my hangers, making my fingers spark. I'm no fool. I instantly realized the accident had charged my body with electricity. I raced home and began to experiment to see how powerful I really was. It's unbelievable. My body keeps recharging itself. I'm like a living electric generator. The more I practice, the more skilled I become. I can do anything with my electrical power. I can throw it, use it as a weapon. Taking every cent I had in the world, I bought a rundown house and equipped it like an electricity lab. With these devices, I can increase my power. There's nothing I cannot do. Finally, I ran completely out of money, but that didn't worry me. I'll disguise myself, take the name Electro, and get all the dough I want. When he's finished, he goes to West Side House of Detention in downtown New York, where he sets about freeing some prisoners to become his flunkies. Jameson travels down to see if Spider-Man shows up and to prove that they are one and the same. Peter is tied up looking for his aunt after the hospital, wants to go to the house of detention to take photos for the Bugle. When Spider-Man finally turns up at the house of detention, Jameson realized his mistake. Electro and Spider-Man are different people. Feet away, you men saw what happened to the fools who tried to escape without obeying my orders. They were all recaptured. But if you do exactly as I say and promise to work for me, I'll free you all. We're with you, Electro. Just get us out of here. Good. Now here's what will... What? What's that? No, it can't be. He's dead. It's the sign of the spider. Spider-Man is here. I know it's bad manners to drop in without an invitation, but I'm sure you'll forgive me once, just this once. You survived my attack once, Spider-Man, but I won't be so careless a second time. Just stay there and keep talking, mister. I'll get to you in a minute. Okay, that'll stop your playmates for a while. And now, Let's see you dodge this electrical bolt, you overconfident braggart. He's tossing a metal bearing in front of me. They'll deflect the power of the bolt. Anyone with any knowledge of science knows that anything metal can act like a lightning rod, as this steel chair is doing. You're wasting your time. My current is inexhaustible, and you'll soon run out of things to throw. You kidding me? I know I'm going to spend all day tossing things at you. These rubber gloves I'm wearing will give you a chance to massage your chin whiskers a while, like this. But as Electro reels back, brushing against the metal cell bars, the flash of the intense current temporarily blinds Spider-Man. My eyes can't see. Ha! Electric current revitalizes me. Now I'll be stronger than ever. I've got to keep him away till my eyes clear. These steel bearings, they'll do the trick. Hey, Sparky, kick these around for a while. Bah, it's those blasted bearings again. I'll stop him for you, Electro. Hey, what? Don't think anyone would be dumb enough to try to sneak up behind a fellow with a spider sense. If it's any consolation to you, chum, I'm pulling my punch all I can. I only want to knock you out, not demolish you. Wham! Wonder where Electro disappeared to. Uh-oh, the other prisoners are trying to escape via the roof. I better head 'em off fast. Haven't played the leapfrog since I was a kid. Then, reaching the top of the stairwell, Spider-Man turns and, hey, didn't anyone ever teach you not to point? Especially with a gun in it, your mitt? Whap! Let's get down again. We can't tackle Spider-Man. Anything better than facing him? We didn't realize how soft we had it in our nice quiet cells. Look out, the police are down here. You're expecting maybe the Pony Express? I think we've all got him, but Electro's still at large. And speaking of Electro, well, look who's here. So we're gone, but not forgotten, eh? You're more pretty fast, Spider-Man, but how long do you think you can keep dodging electrical bolts before you collapse from sheer exhaustion? Long enough to wrap you up, big mouth. Well, little man, I have another surprise for you. I caught the gun that you kicked downstairs, and now we'll find out whether a bullet or an electrical bolt can get you first. And what do you think I'll do? Standing around and waiting for you? Here's a bucket of sand for you to chew on while you're making up that slow-witted mind of yours. Is that the best you can do? Don't you know that electric current can turn sand to glass? Sure, I know it, but while you're busy showing off, it gives me time to shoot my web at your gun, jamming it so you can't fire it. Do I make myself clear? Livid with rage and frustration, Electro suddenly rips some of the highly charged power wires from the wall, whirling them menacing around his head. You mock me for the last time. Any one of these wires, if it touches your body, will rid the earth of Spider-Man forever. This is serious. I can deflect some of them with my rubber gloves, but if one of those touches my body, it's curtains for me. He's getting closer. Can't back up any further. What have I bumped into behind me? It's a water main with a fire hose attached. Say, what kind of science major am I anyway? Why did I think of this right away? Water and electricity just don't mix. Now, if I can just hit the mark in time. I did it. It's real short circuit. It stopped him cold. Life for sure is funny. He's one of the most powerful criminals of all time, and what finally beat him? Just a dowsing from a plain, ordinary water hose. Might as well remove his mask and see who he is. If this was a movie, I'd gasp in shock, and then I'd say, good heavens, the butler. But this guy I never saw before. Oh well, it won't take the police long to find out who he is. In fact, I can hear them coming now. Better get my camera and get out of here. Hope the pics come out okay. I'll be the scoop of the year. Afterwards, Peter sells pictures of Electro fighting Spider-Man to J. Jonah Jameson, receiving some of the much-needed money to help Aunt May. The story ends with Betty and Peter trying to find the right words to say to each other. Dr. Bromwell, first appearance. Electro. Maxwell Dillon, first appearance. Origin revealed. NYPD Joe, first appearance. Notes: a number of elements in the story should be considered topical references per the sliding timescale of Earth 616. These include the style of vehicles in this story and the electrical equipment used by Electro, especially the equipment he used as a lineman. Flash Thompson makes reference to the boxing match that he and Peter had during the events of Amazing Spider-Man 8. At the end of the story, Betty tries to tell Peter why she left high school to work at Jameson Security and mentions how Peter reminds her of someone she once knew. What Betty is talking about here isn't revealed until Untold Tales of Spider-Man 12. Chronological notes, a flashback in the story affecting the chronology of the following characters. Max Dillon, how Electro got his powers. Publication notes, Peter Parker's midterm exams take place shortly after this story. Next issue, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 10, The Enforcers. Silence. I call this meeting to inform you that I'm taking over all the rackets in the city. From now on, the big man is the head of the crime syndicate. I'm going to run this little enterprise like a big business. As a boss of our organization, I'll give all the orders, and my enforcers here will make sure that my orders are carried out. Any questions? Quote the big man. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 10, The Enforcers. The crime boss Big Man has gathered a group called the Enforcers in order to strong-arm all the other gangs in New York to work for him. When the other mobsters refuse, they are beaten into submission by Ox, Montana, and Fancy Dan. You all know how I outsmarted Spider-Man earlier today, and you have seen what happens to anyone foolish enough to resist me or my enforcers. Our meeting is now adjourned. You will receive further orders from me very soon. Under my leadership, aided by my enforcers, we have a glorious future ahead of us. Meanwhile, Peter visits his Aunt May in the hospital and is told that she needs a blood transfusion. He's worried that his radioactive blood would have an adverse effect on his aunt, but he is pressured into participating into the transfusion. But as Peter's aunt heads south, a new crime wave begins to erupt in the city. Underneath the leadership of the mysterious big man, a well-organized and powerful network of underworld mobs seem to strike everywhere at once. Later, as Spider-Man, Peter busts some crooks working for the big man. When Jameson is on the scene, he demands that the police also arrest Spider-Man because he suspects that the big man and Spider-Man are the same character, and Spider-Man's aiding the law is just to throw the police off. Returning to the Bugle, he demands writer Frederick Foswell say as such in the Bugle's paper. Foswell reminds Jameson that the last time the Bugle reported that Spider-Man was doubling as a costume villain, Electro, the Bugle ended up looking bad when it turned out to be false. When Betty Brand gets off work, she is confronted by the enforcers who are coming to collect a loan from her. Peter tries to get involved and allows the enforcers to push him around, not wishing to reveal his identity. When Peter tries to find out what was going on, Betty flees. Deciding to deal with the enforcers and the big man, Peter constructs a giant spider's web complete with a giant spider in order to scare a crook stool pigeon into revealing the location of Big Man's secret hideout. Good work, Montana. And now get rid of the Spider-Man once and for all. I can't have him trying to interfere with my plans. The big man and the enforcers. I've got you all together. Correction, my friend. It is we who have you. Get him, Ox. Even a real ox couldn't get me, so no phony one is going to do it. And you can't catch a Spider-Man twice with the same rope trick, mister. A guy your size must be nuts to try to tangle with me. Hey, I missed. Never saw anything move so fast. Don't let my size fool you, wise guy. They don't call me Fancy Dan for nothing. And don't call me Spider-Man for nothing. Fast as you are, my spider sense and spider reflexes will help me to nail you like this. Uh-oh, lasso. Round my wrist. Pulling me off my balance. Can't shift my weight in time. Can't duck this. Ow. I've been waiting to land a haymaker on Spider-Man. But what might be a haymaker to anyone else just angers Spider-Man enough to spur him to still more dazzling feats such as, look out, he flipped backwards through the rope. He's strong and swift, but it's still 3 against 1. And when a guy as fast as Fancy Dan is also a judo expert, what chance can Spider-Man have? Stop flapping your lips and keep fighting. He's a long way from being licked yet. You said a mouthful, Cuddles. Ugh. But there's a limit to anyone's endurance, even one as amazing as Spider-Man. Getting weak. Doctor told me to take it easy for a while. My body hasn't yet replenished the spider blood cells which I lost in transfusion. Hate to have them think I'm running out on a fight, but I've got to cut it out while I still can. First thing to do is get rid of the lights. Where'd he go? When Spider-Man sees J. Jonah Jameson on the scene, he begins to suspect that Jameson might be the big man. Peter finds that Betty is not answering her phone, and later at the Bugle, he learns that she has quit her job. As Spider-Man, I might be able to smash the crime syndicate if I could find their main headquarters and learn who the big man really is. Nuts. They're not going to send Spider-Man an invitation to come and visit them, but Peter Parker may be able to get himself captured by them. It's dangerous, but it's the only way. Of course I know him. Don't stand here asking fool questions. Go get him. Peter deals with the big man with a new plan. The next day at school, he brags about how he figured out the big man's secret identity, hoping that word would get back to the big man. Sure enough, it does, and the big man sends the enforcers to capture Peter. Locked in his cell, Peter changes into Spider-Man and breaks out. Matter with me. I was so intent on what I saw that I didn't heed the silent tingle of my spider sense. Big man, up here. I just caught a spy, Spider-Man. After him, all of you. He must not escape. Get him. Don't be such an eager beaver, big man. I'm not going anywhere. No need to rush, boys. Take your time. I'll see that you all get what's coming to you. Too many gathering around me. They'll pull me down by sheer weight of numbers. I'm getting bored, group. How about a change of scene? Here we go. Say, I've always wanted to drive one of these sporty jobs. Hold it, boys. I'm making this trip solo. Attaboy, Ox. Grab the bumper now. Lift it higher. Good. Oh, well, I prefer a 4-speed gearbox anyway. That little man ain't going anywhere if I can help it. Nobody's stronger than the Ox. Nice try, playmates. I'll give you an A for effort. Wish I felt as confident as I'm trying to sound. I've got to find a way to get out of this place. Uh-oh, the big man's trying to slow me down by rolling oil drums down the ramp at me. I stopped him for you, you clumsy oafs. Now get him. Much obliged, big man. These drums are just what I needed. My spider ability can keep me balanced well enough to ride one of them right through your bully boys. Your overconfidence will be your undoing, Spider-Man. Lasso him, Montana. I hear you talking, boss. Uh-oh, I forgot about him. I've got to move fast. This ought to make him drop that lariat. He flipped in midair, shoving the drum towards me. It's going to hit me. So far, so good, but I've got to use my web fluid carefully. They're not going to stop to give me time to reload. Each of you grab a tire, throw it. Whew. They don't let up for a second. Give me those tires. I'll show you to stop that little runt. But even the powerful Ox is thwarted by Spider-Man's agility. My reflexes help me to dodge these things with ease. And when I can't get around them, I can always zip through them. Pretty tricky, masked man. But now let's see how good you are on the oily, greasy floor. According to the latest superhero manual, the well-trained costume crime fighter turns every obstacle into advantage. I see what I mean? He's sliding on the floor like an ice skater. Look out. You can't dodge us forever. Rush. I'm from all sides, you guys. He's right. I can't dodge them forever, but I'm going to make sure, going to try. We've got him now. You cherubs are made for each other. So far to be from me to keep you apart. But before Spider-Man can regain his footings, the fast-moving Fancy Dan strikes again with a skillful judo attack. Oof. I figured they wore you down enough. Now I'll finish you off. A judo-trained little man always more than a match for a guy twice his size, even when the guy is Spider-Man. Remember those words, little friend. You're going to regret them real soon. I admire your enthusiasm, Fancy Dan, but you seem to have forgotten how a spider can stick to a wall and then reverse himself like this. Now you just stay there and rest up for a while, chum. You've had a busy little day. Say, don't you guys ever take a lunch break or anything? You've got me working overtime. My heart's pounding like a trip hammer. I've got to get some rest soon. If only I can think of a way to signal the police. Then, as he skillfully keeps one step ahead of his pursuers, I've got it. I'll remove my spider light signal from my belt, and then I'll turn it up and attach it to the tip of a web shooter. And away we go. Bullseye. The spider signal I've got to call headquarters. Then when the 30 seconds, the sound of blaring sirens fills the night air in the slumbering city. It's the Acme Garage. Give her the gas. While within the structure, the fateful battle continues. Keep after me. He's tiring. He's only human. You're wearing him down. Relax, big man. They're doing okay without a cheerleader. But suddenly an ear-piercing wail is heard from outside. The police. And not a minute too soon. They won't get here in time to save you. Blast it. If only you didn't move so fast. Now you're not gonna begrudge me my little talents, are you? Okay, now, big man, the party's over. I counted those shots and your gun's empty, so now it's man to man. Sorry, Spider-Man, I don't fight by your rules. I know when to make an exit. The big man escapes during the fight, but Spider-Man is more than convinced that Jameson is really the big man. Going to the Bugle to expose Jameson, he finds Jameson yelling at Foswell about the story he wrote when the police burst in and reveal big man is Foswell, who shows that he pulled off the identity with padding clothing that made him look bigger. After the police take Foswell away, Jameson admits to himself that he hates Spider-Man because he represents everything that he is not. While Peter returns home to find there is still no word from Betty Brant, Betty sits alone in a small town in Pennsylvania, wishing there was some way she could get Spider-Man's help. Big Man, Frederick Foswell, first appearance. Enforcers, first appearance. Montana, Jackson Bryce, first appearance. Fancy Dan, Daniel Brito, first appearance. Ox, Raymond Bloch, first appearance. Mr. and Mrs. Abbott, first appearance. May Parker's neighbors. Notes: the blood transfusion Peter gives to his Aunt May has dangerous consequences as seen in Amazing Spider-Man 31 to 33. The events of Untold Tales of Spider-Man 5 to 7 happens between pages 5 and 6 of this story. Foswell reminds Jameson the folly of accusing Spider-Man of being the big man, pointing out how a similar incident with Electro last issue backfired him. The reason why the enforcers are harassing Betty Brant here is revealed in the next issue. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 11, Turning Point. If only Peter were here. He's the only one I can turn to, but it's too late. Everything's too late. And Bennett is dead because of Spider-Man. Quote, Betty Brant, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 11, Turning Point. When Peter hears that Doc Octopus is about to be released from prison, he goes to the warden to petition against his release. The warden tells Spider-Man that Octopus served his time and tells him to get out before he has him arrested. I was able to spend all my time improving my dexterity with my extra arms. I can use them so well now that I'll never be captured again. Knowing that Octopus will probably go back to a life of crime, Peter develops a spider tracer device which will allow him to track Octopus wherever he goes. When he tags the car coming to pick up Octopus, Spider-Man is shocked to find Betty Brant driving. He also finds that she dropped a map to Philadelphia from the car when she picked up Dr. Octopus. As it turns out, Betty's trouble involves her brother Bennett, who is the lawyer for the crime boss Blackie Gaxton. He also owes Gaxton a large gambling debt. In changing back to his Peter Parker identity so that he can search the neighborhood without attracting attention, he finally finds Betty. Then it was you. I found you at last. Peter, you've been searching for me. I never dreamt, but I couldn't let you just walk out of my life. You mean too much to me. Oh, Peter, what a fool I was. I should have confided in you, should have told you everything right at the start. I need you, Peter. I don't know where to turn. And then, her trembling voice choked with emotion, Betty tells the boy she loves all about her brother, Blackie Glaxton, and Dr. Octopus. So I just had to drive Dr. Octopus here, Peter. It was the only way to keep my brother safe from Blackie's gang. I was ashamed to tell you before, to tell you my brother's a lawyer for a dangerous mobster. But you can't be blamed for that, Betty. You've done all you could. I'm glad you told me because I have some good news for you. I just learned that Spider-Man is in Philly to keep tabs on Dr. Octopus. I'm sure that we won't have to worry about Octopus or Blackie Gaxton with Spider-Man around. I've just decided I can't keep it from her any longer. Once we're back in New York, I'm going to tell Betty that I am Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Dr. Octopus frees Gaxton and they take Betty and Bennett as hostages as they escape by boat. But in his haste to reach Betty's side, Spider-Man carelessly slips on a coil of rope as he lands and ow, my ankle. All of the bonehead things to do. I didn't notice that rope lying there. Of all the times for this to have happened, I sprained it. I can't put any weight on it. Well, looks like we got company on your feet, pal. We're taking you to the boss. We found a stowaway, Blackie, friend of yours, Dr. Octopus and Betty and her brother, as well as Blackie and his gunman. Now I'm really in for it. Spider-Man, what did you bring him down here for, you fools? He's too dangerous. Don't worry about him, Gaxton. I've been waiting for a chance to have my revenge on him. You won't have to worry about Spider-Man. I promise you that. But there are some other things you can start worrying about, such as the fact that I'm taking over now. Now that I know the money is on board the ship I need, you no longer. If I'm ever going to make a break, this is going to be my chance to do it. Hey, look out. He's busting out loose. Ugh. Since everyone is making speeches, I might as well furnish some entertainment. So here it goes. This won't be easy with a bad ankle, but if I can move fast enough to keep them all off balance. First, I'll take care of this hired hands like this. I'll save the best for last. Sorry, Doc Ock. I didn't mean to knock them into you. Oops. Watch yourself. I wouldn't want you to skin your pink little knuckles when you fall down and go boom. Clumsy fools. Hope he stays down there long enough for me to put Blackie's men out of action. Nice try to the playmate, but you're not pushing around a helpless gal and her brother now. What's up, Blackie boy? Oh, trying to reach for that pop gun? Wait, let me help you. Even Spider-Man can be stopped by a bullet. Ow. Betty, Bannon, stay back. Keep undercover till I get his gun away. Bang, bang. Those shots, they're going wild. Might hit Betty. Look out, Betty. Get behind me. No, Bennett, you're getting in the line of fire. Stay back. I'm all right. Spider-Man, stop struggling with him. Those shots will hit Bennett. Bennett, speak to me. Ugh. He's been shot because he tried to help me. Oh, Bennett, it is better this way. I was no good to anyone. Maybe now you can wash your hands of all this. I told him to stay back until I got Blackie's gun. Why didn't he listen? It's your fault. You hadn't interfered. If you hadn't tried to be a hero, it might not have happened. I hate you. Do you hear? I hate you. You don't know what you're saying. Stop it, girl. You mustn't. You can't mean it. If only Peter were here. He's the only one I can turn to, but it's too late. Everything's too late. And Bennett's a dead because of Spider-Man. She really thinks I'm responsible for her brother's death? How can I ever convince her she's wrong? But there's no time for that. Blackie's escaping and Dr. Octopus is still at large. I've got to move. His heart filled with burning rage, a vengeful Spider-Man goes after Blackie Gaxton. I'll get you, Gaxton. There's no place on Earth you can run to now. Blast you. You've ruined everything, but I'm not finished yet. That's it, Gaxton. I've counted the shots. Your gun's empty. Hold him, boys. Keep him away from me. But oblivious to the pain in his ankle, to the men trying to hold him to everything, save the fury in his heart, Spider-Man picks up the trembling mobster in one hand and there's only one language a killer like you understands, and this is it. While in the hole below, an equally furious Dr. Octopus hurls the remaining mobsters away from him casually as one might swat a fly. Out of the way, you weaklings. I have scored a cell on the deck above. This is the wrap-up, Spider-Man, the moment I've been waiting for since you sent me to jail last year. Octopus is back. I was afraid of this. He almost beat me last time when I fought him alone. I've got to keep moving. I got to stay out of reach of those powerful arms of his. Why prolong the agony? I'll get you sooner or later. You can't do any more swinging if I grab the line. You're swinging on, can you? Just watch me, Doc. I'll give you a little lesson in arrow gymnastics. I sure wish I felt as confident as I'm trying to sound. Luckily, I had enough momentum to keep me swinging over to this smokestack. Bah, kid stuff. Using my arms to propel me. I can still move faster than you. Zat! How come I'm always way ahead of you, big mouth? Can't keep swinging forever. Maybe I can get a breather by dropping King down to this walk under the upper deck. Oh, I forgot about my ankle. Got to keep my weight off it. It hurts worse than ever. Say, I thought I got rid of you guys before. Don't you know when you're not wanted? Maybe I can catch Doc Ock off guard by swinging up to the deck behind him. It's worth a try. Well, so much for that idea. I expected you'd try something like that. Now I've got you. Don't bet on it, chum. Just wait till I finish wrapping this little rope pulley around you. There, pretty good knot, huh? What a Boy Scout I'd make. Oh, what a shame. Looks as though you can't keep your balance well. Have a nice trip. I knew you have to let me go in order to use your free arm to balance yourself. As soon as I tear this rope with my free hand, I'll get you, Spider-Man. I'll end your career for good. Yeah, some career. No vacations, no pension plan, not even a salary. Go ahead and end it. Who cares? He's gaining on me. Maybe some web shooting stretched across the whole hatchway will stop him. You should know this better than this, fool. I'll rip through your inflexible webbing in a matter of seconds. Well, you can't blame a guy for trying. Uh-oh. Now what? Now I've got you trapped. That's what. Not yet. You haven't had a whiff of some chemicals foam from the fire extinguisher first. This is nutty. It's like being on a merry-go-round. I'm not doing Betty or myself any good this way. I've got to find a way to beat him. Can't see. Well, you're lost in your little one-man fog, Doc. I'll just skippy-daddle-do out of here by zipping between your arms. Now I've got to find Betty and make sure she's all right. Meantime, at the other side of the ship, Blackie is knocked out for the count, and between Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus, our lives aren't worth a plug nickel here. I know what you're getting at. We might as well grab Blackie's 100 grand and hightail it out of here. And while you take for a hostage, I've got a hunch Spider-Man won't bother us if he thinks you'll be in danger. No, let me go. I don't care if you shoot me. I won't go with you. Do you hear me? I won't. Naturally, you won't, my dear, because you're going with me. Dr. Octopus, oh no. She's fainted. It's just as well I'll be able to carry her without her screaming. There comes the launch to pick up Gaxon, only they'll pick me up instead. But at that very instant, take your hands off her, Spider-Man. I'll leave the girl behind. Spider-Man is more important. I'll get him to follow me into the launch. He won't have as much room to maneuver there. I'll finish him off easy. Can't move fast enough. My ankle keeps slowing me down. You want me, Spider-Man? Come and get me if you dare. He knows the odds are in his favor on this smaller boat. It'll be harder for me to dodge his arms, but I can't quit now. I just can't. I knew that they should have set you free, Octopus, but I've got enough on you to send you back for a long, long time. You're whistling in the dark, Spider-Man. You'll never leave this launch alive. He keeps warding off my blows with his arms. Can't get past his defense. No matter how strong you are, my arms are stronger even faster. I'm getting out of here. I agreed to pick up Blackie, Gaxon, not to take two battles furious aboard. Ha! I see you're tiring, Spider-Man. Too bad for your arms are mere flesh and blood. Not tireless artificial appendage like mine. He's right, I am tiring. Can't take much more. I've waited a long time for this moment, but I never thought you'd make it so easy for me to get my final revenge. I thought I'd have to search for you to what? Who's that? It's a police launch pulling up to us. Ahoy, the ship. This is police. We noticed your boat out of control. Stand by. We're coming on board to investigate. Only seconds till they get here. Got to stop Octopus before then. I'll still have time to destroy you before they land, and then I'll make my escape. But it's just then the pilotless craft running out of control strikes a piling, hurling the two battle super foes into the sea. Crash! Whew, that happened just in the nick of time for me. Now, if I can just swim underwater to the dock so I won't have to explain to the police. Made it, but it looks though Doc Ock got away too. Maybe just as well. Next time we meet, I don't want to be held back by a useless ankle. I better make sure Betty's okay now, and wait, there she is now. The police arrive and arrest Blackie and his gang. Later, having changed back to Spider-Man, he learns from Betty that she hopes to never see Spider-Man again because she couldn't bear being reminded of her brother's death. This hampens Peter's plan of revealing his secret identity to her. Can you understand that, Peter? Or do I sound like a fool? You could never sound like a fool to me, Betty. Of course I understand, and I'm sure Spider-Man would too if he knew. Blackie Gaxton, first appearance. Bennett Brandt, first appearance. Apparent death. Spider Tracer, first appearance. Spider Tracer Tracker, first appearance. Note, this is the first comic not to feature J. Jonah Jameson, not counting Amazing Fantasy 15, as he had yet to make his debut. He is not even referenced in the comic. Peter Parker recounts his last battle with Dr. Octopus back in Amazing Spider-Man 3. Peter Parker thinks that he was the first person in town to break into jail. He seems to have forgotten that Electro previously did the same in Amazing Spider-Man 9. Bennett's financial troubles are explained in more detail in Untold Tales Spider-Man 12. Although Bennett seemingly dies here, his true fate is revealed in Venom Volume 2, Issue 21. On page 7, the comic narration states that Peter Parker's flight from New York to Philadelphia took a few minutes. In the fourth panel from page 8, Steve Ditko's half Parker, half Spider-Man image has Spider-Man's outer eye colored in red, not black. Next issue, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 12, Unmasked by Dr. Octopus. Boy, that Spider-Man is a poor man's Frank Buck, a policeman. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 12, Unmasked by Dr. Octopus. Betty Brant has returned to New York and taken back her secretary job at the Daily Bugle. Dr. Octopus has also returned to New York, plotting to get revenge on Spider-Man, and decides to use Betty as bait. Kidnapping Betty from the Bugle building, he tells Jameson to put a call out to Spider-Man to meet him at a nearby amusement park. With his spider powers seemingly gone because he's come down with a cold, Peter decides he has no choice but to save Betty as he is, and so he accepts the challenge. When he tells Jameson, pretending that he just heard it so his identity isn't compromised, Jason reports the story himself. When Spider-Man arrives to battle Dr. Octopus, all his powers have completely faded. I did it. I'm free. Now, if I can just reach the street in time. So you think you can escape me? Do you think this time I shall not be so forgiving? He's reaching for Betty. It's now or never. Hold it, Octopus. I'm the one you want. And now I've got you. Too weak for a long battle. I've got to knock him out with the first punch. It's my only chance. Oh no, I tried my best, but my spider strength is gone. It was just a weak, meaningless punch. He hardly felt it. What? What sort of stunt is this, Spider-Man? I know you can hit harder than that. If this is some sort of trick, it'll do you no good. You won't be given a second chance. Ugh, never felt a punch like that before. I'm reacting like an ordinary teenager. What are you trying to do? Frustrate me? Fight back. Do you hear me? Don't water down my victory by making it too easy. That's impossible. You're like a human punching bag. What happened to you? My head's reeling. Another blow like that and he'll be finished. I'm helpless. He's almost unconscious. I can't believe it. He doesn't even struggle as I try to remove his mask. There can only be one answer, Mr. Jameson. Look, he's beaten Spider-Man so quickly. And where's Parker? He should be photographing this. It is Dr. Octopus. Good thing you called us, miss. I should have known. It isn't Spider-Man. It's that weakling brat, Peter Parker. Peter, he did it for me. Oh, he might have been killed. The fool. I ordered him to take pictures of Octopus, not try to be a hero. You mean you knew Octopus was here? Bad. Take your puny hero. He's of no interest to me. It's the real Spider-Man I'm after. Octopus theorized that Parker was simply posing as Spider-Man to save his girlfriend because Spider-Man would put up a better fight. He flees the scene to find some other way to get the real Spider-Man's attention. Everyone gives Peter grief for the danger he put himself in. However, Liz Allen finds the whole episode romantic and her opinion of Peter changes and she realizes that she's attracted to him. The next day, Peter finds out the cold has passed, and as a result, his powers are back. When Dr. Octopus releases animals from the zoo, Peter goes into action as Spider-Man. He rounds up all the animals and gets into a fight with Dr. Octopus across the city. Dr. Octopus is determined to find and confront Spider-Man, and he makes this declaration to those around him. Dr. Octopus expresses impatience and determination to confront Spider-Man, believing that it will make a significant statement to the city. In a display of frustration or aggression, Dr. Octopus hurls a sign, adding to the chaos in the scene. Out of nowhere, a powerful web is launched, surprising onlookers and setting the stage for Spider-Man's entrance. As the web streaks across, a civilian spots Spider-Man's arrival, bringing a moment of hope and anticipation to the situation. Spider-Man confidently addresses Dr. Octopus, acknowledging the villain's desire for a showdown and indicating his readiness for a confrontation. Dr. Octopus expresses anticipation and excitement at a final encountering Spider-Man, setting the stage for their battle. This time, you web-shooting freak, I'll show you no mercy. What do you mean this time? A Florence Nightingale you've never been, and a few stories below. Blast him. That's the real Spider-Man, all right. Parker would have never had the nerve to soak me that way. Oh, Mr. Jameson, Dr. Octopus is so much bigger, so much more vicious. What chance will Spider-Man have? And Spider-Man too asks himself that question. Those blammed arms of his make him stronger than I. How am I going to figure out a way to defeat him once and for all? Well, one thing's for sure, I'd better come up with an answer pretty darn fast. I've got you now. You no place to run. I can afford to take my time to release this moment. You're completely trapped. Think so? Then just watch this. Geronimo! He hurled himself into space, tying his accursed web to the chimney top. Now I'll just spin around, tying you to the chimney. Not bad for a little trapped spider, eh? But using his indescribable power arms, Dr. Octopus pushes himself from the smokestack before the web can be completely tightened around him. Apparently, I have underestimated my fast-moving foe, but I shall not be guilty of that mistake a second time. There will be leaning towards the chimney again, and I make the slack pieces of webbing fall away. And so the fantastic chase begins again. Sooner or later, I'll catch you. You can't escape me forever. Though you are more agile, I can cover more ground with less effort, and I'm virtually tireless. Yes, you're right, Ak. If all that boasting doesn't tire you out, nothing will. And now I'll prove to you that I can do more than utter idle boast. Taken unaware by Dr. Osborn's sudden move, Spider-Man attempts to hurl himself backwards out of the arm's way, but receives a sharp blow as he does so. This is only the beginning, Spider-Man. From now on, I'll be on top of you at every turn. My only chance is to avoid his arms if he grabs me. I'm cooked. Well, no place to go but down. It's a long chance, but maybe I can get out of his reach in the shaft. Then I'll figure out a new place of attack. Take the offensive. I'll lower myself by the web and hope he doesn't see me. It's no good. He knows I'm here, but wait, this is my chance to attack. Now, when he thinks I'm trapped, I've got my web stretched to exactly the right tension. Now, all I need to do is give him a sharp tug and gangway, Doc Ock. What the? Ha! I thought I'd catch you off guard. Well, buddy boy, you're not fighting a weak imitation of the Spider-Man now. This time you're facing the real thing. Those waving arms of yours won't do much good if I can't keep you off balance like this. And that's just what I aim to do. And you know something, there's still no substitute for a good old-fashioned punch in the jaw. Now is there? Don't just lie there. Answer me. You fool, you only got 2 arms to punch with. I've got 6. You're licked before you start. You like to think so, wouldn't you? This is no good. I mustn't. His arms keep me at bay. Mustn't slow up or I'll lose the advantage. The only thing to do is to dive right through his arms real fast. Good try. You an effectual upstart, but not good enough. I don't have to move as quickly as you do. With 6 arms at my disposal, I can afford to take my time. I always get what I reach for. Look, Dr. Octopus is trying to push Spider-Man off the edge of the roof. He's doing it. Spider-Man is toppling. Wait, he's holding onto Octopus. They're both falling. I was willing to go over the side with you because I saw the scaffold below us, and with my sharper reflexes. Reflexes? Bah! What good will they do now to the scaffold? Just snap! In one breath, taking a dizzy swing, swaying scaffold hurls both the combatants through a skylight below, where they land in a mist of deserted sculpture studio. We knocked over the sculpture's cleaning fluid. It's starting a fire. That will be the least of your worries. At least I've got you in a place where you can not outmaneuver me. Octopus, you're a fool. You will both be trapped in here. This building is deserted. It's just you and me now. Only one of us will survive. Are you so filled with hate that you're willing to die rather than stop our battle? I can escape through any window, but you'll be trapped by some falling sculpture. You won't talk your way out of this. I'm finishing you off now. And then suddenly, unexpectedly, Spider-Man's fateful prediction comes true. The heavy stone statue fell on Octopus. He can't lift himself. What? What happened? I can't get off this me. I'm trapped. Hang on, smart guy. I'll get you out. Hey, the floor, it's giving in. Way beneath all that waiting, it's collapsing. Help! Can't get to him. The flame's leaping too high, too hot. Can't get through. What's the matter with me? I've been so worried about Doc Ock, I forgot about myself. This is no bed of roses for me either. How do I get out of here? My only chance is to use my web shooters. I'll make a fire shield out of, oh no, I'm out of fluid. I got some spare cartridges in my belt. If only I can use them in time. The flame's getting closer. Have to move faster. Good thing I've practiced this so often. Could do this in my sleep. There, it's all loaded. Now to press the release button and keep my fingers crossed. Here goes. Using his amazing Spider-Man-like virtuosos, playing out just the right amount of fluid at just the right split second, Spider-Man managed to create a flame-proof umbrella for his head, plus some sections of webbing to use as stepping stones for his racing feet. It's working now if I can just reach the window. Made it. I'll cling to the wall of the building next door to swing to safety from here. The fire is put out and Octopus is turned over to the police. Later, Liz Allen asks Peter out on a date. Peter rejects her date, telling her that he's going on a better one with Betty Brant. He tells Liz to go out with Flash Thompson because they deserve each other. Notes: Dr. Octopus recalls how Spider-Man rescued Betty Brant in the past. He is referring to the events of last issue. The unmasking of Peter Parker is revisited in a flashback in Amazing Spider-Man 87 and Sensational Spider-Man Volume 2, issue number 28. On page 10, when Liz stands up for Peter, he thinks that she never even knew he was alive. However, she had previously accepted to go on a date with him in Amazing Spider-Man number 4, which Peter canceled in order to capture the Sandman. References pertaining to the type of camera that Peter Parker used should be considered topical references per sliding timescale of Earth 616. On page 14, panel 5, in an effort to attract Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus tips over a sign advertising Lead It Inc. This is obviously a nod to Spider-Man creators Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. The KO still sounds like Co. And if you're referring to companies, a synonym for Co is Inc. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 13 is next. The Menace of Mysterio. Mysterio, Quentin Beck, first appearance as Mysterio.